This is CNN.
No more. After high-profile missteps, President Trump ousts his Homeland Security Secretary.
I'm Kristi Noem.
And replaces her with a close ally on Capitol Hill.
There's an opportunity to build off successes and things that maybe didn't go quite as planned.
What will it mean for Trump's immigration crackdown? Republican Senator Thom Tillis, who called for Noem to go, joins me in moments. Plus, unconditional surrender. President Trump expands his war with Iran.
We're doing very well on the war front. On a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
But as the conflict spreads around the region, does he have a plan for what comes next? Democratic Senator Chris Murphy is here. And crude awakening. As the war in the Middle East sends oil prices through the roof, how much pain at the pump will Americans accept? I'll ask Energy Secretary Chris Wright. Hello, I'm Jake Tapper in Washington, where the State of our Union is wondering if we've seen this all before. President Trump escalating his war, demanding Iran's unconditional surrender overnight. Apocalyptic scenes in Tehran, flames and smoke after the Israeli military said it struck fuel storage sites in the capital of Iran. CNN's Fred Pleitkin is on the ground in Tehran and described the aftermath. We should note that CNN operates in Iran only with government permission.
This is what Tehran is waking up to this morning. The sky above the city is covered in very thick black clouds. You can see that everywhere. That's the west of the city over there, and this is the north of the city. Normally, if you look to that direction, you could actually see the Alborz Mountains, but now all of that is also covered in clouds. It's also raining, but you can see that the rain water is actually black, also saturated, it appears, with oil. And then if we look over there, you can see that the water that's running down here also is black. So that's what's coming down this morning, this sort of oil-filled rain.
Here at home, the American public faced the human cost of this war as the bodies of the 6 U.S. service members killed by an Iranian strike returned home yesterday. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., there is upheaval in the Trump administration after President Trump fired Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem following a tenure plagued by high-profile horrors and blunders. The final straw for Trump, it seems, was not Noem slandering 2 dead American citizens as domestic terrorists, citizens that immigration agents killed. It was, in fact, a splashy $220 million ad campaign heavily featuring Noem and her suggestion during a congressional hearing that the president had approved it. Joining us now, Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina. Senator, you've been very critical of Noem's leadership. You were very aggressive in the questioning of her during her testimony on the Hill this week, questioning her competence in the role. 2 days later, the president fired her. What was your reaction?
Well, I'm glad he moved on. Secretary Noem may have been effective at as governor in South Dakota, but it's very clear that her experience didn't scale to something the size and scope of Homeland Security. So I'm glad the president made the decision. I hope Mark Wayne Mullen gets in there. He's a friend of mine. I've had a great relationship with him in the Senate. He's got to fix what's broken there and build on what's right. You know, we've lost the debate over immigration and deportations. I believe that we should deport everyone that we can find that came across the borders during the Biden administration. But we've got to be smart, use our limited resources, go after the most dangerous first. And it didn't look like that happened in under Noem.
So you've praised Mark Wayne Mullen as her replacement. We should note, of course, President Trump's top advisor, Stephen Miller, about whom you've been very critical. Miller's still calling the shots for the administration's aggressive immigration crackdown, specifically this quota of 3,000 immigration arrests a day. How much can anything actually change as long as Miller is in that position of authority?
Well, look, if the Mark Wayne Mullen I know in the Senate, who's one of the most independent people I've had the privilege of working with in the Senate, goes over to Homeland Security, then he's going to tell Stephen Miller to stay in his lanes and let him lead the agency. I believe that Mark Wayne recognizes that it's quality over quantity. We want to go after the most dangerous people, the gang members, the drug traffickers, the murderers, the rapists, the things that Noem promised that we would go after, and she simply didn't deliver. I still need the information from Charlotte's Web I'm in Charlotte today, and about 20 minutes from where I live, they went after about 500 people. It's not clear to me that the hit rate was very high. They disrupted a community. They developed, they created discord among law enforcement agencies. We want less of that and more of what I know Markwayne Mullin's capable of doing.
One of your points of contention with Secretary Noem was her handling of the aftermath of those fatal ICE shootings of 2 American citizens, specifically how she jumped to conclusions before their deaths had been investigated, calling them domestic terrorists. I do want to play for you how Senator Mullin reacted just hours after Alex Preddy was shot and killed.
A deranged individual that came in to cause max damage with a loaded pistol with an extra mag that was completely loaded, was shot and killed. How much more does this got to go on before the Democrat leaders there take responsibility for their words?
So obviously there's no evidence that Alex Preddy was deranged or that he came to cause maximum damage with a loaded pistol. He had a license to carry, or that any Democratic leader was responsible for this tragedy. Does that give you any pause?
It gives me pause that you had people like Stephen Miller calling the shots that actually I believe that maybe Kristi Noem acted on. It was Stephen Miller that was talking about a terrorist brandishing a gun. It was Stephen Miller who said it was the position of the United States that we should go after Greenland. It's Stephen Miller that's been repeatedly responsible for embarrassments for the President of the United States by acting too quickly, speaking first and thinking later. I think if I don't think Markwayne goes to the podium and repeats something that Stephen Miller says. I think Stephen Miller's demonstrated he too is out of his depth, and I think Markwayne will learn from that.
Do you think Stephen Miller should go?
Oh, of course I do. I think Stephen Miller is one of the. Not only does Stephen really want to just paint a picture, he's not worried about substance, he's more worried about form, but I also think that he has an outsized influence over the operations of the cabinet. And I believe we've got qualified cabinet members there that sometimes are doing less than what they want to because of his direction and his outsized influence. He's a big problem in this administration. He has been from the beginning. But Noem is a Senate-confirmed cabinet member. She should have been independent. I believe that Markwayne will be independent. I believe that Markwayne will be driven by data. He'll leverage law enforcement resources, expertise, people like Tom Holman to get things right. And if he doesn't, we'd hold him accountable. But I have a lot of confidence in my friend, and I'm looking forward to him getting this department under control so that Republicans can seize an issue that helped us get elected, strong on the border, strong on deportation, strong on the rule of law.
It's been more than a week since the United States and Israel attacked Iran. I want to ask you some questions about that, but let's start with the basic one. Is the United States at war?
No, by definition, we're not at war. That's what Congress does when we declare war. And the same argument or the same questions were being asked in 1999 when Clinton went into Kosovo, and in 2011 when Obama went into Libya. Look, there's about a 60-day clock where the president can do more or less what he wants to. But I think in this particular case, he's going to need a supplemental to sustain an effort. So let's be instructed by the War Powers Resolution. If we move into 60 days of hostility, then technically the president should be ramping down the following 30 days. If it's going to take longer than that, and we know what our objectives are now, then let's make a request and let the administration make a request of Congress to not only provide supplemental funding, but probably a request for the authorization of use of military force. If our ultimate goal is going to be regime change, then it may take longer than the 60 days that the War Powers Resolution provides the president before they really do need to come before Congress and get it authorized. And why not? Wouldn't we want to legitimize this by getting a congressional vote supporting the president if it's going to be a long-term engagement? I believe we should.
On the question about whether or not regime change is the ultimate goal, I'm not sure that is the ultimate goal. That we've heard lots of different explanations, but I believe the president has most recently said that, first of all that Iran's leader needs to do, this is what he told Dana Bash, is there needs to be a leader who, quote, treats the United States and Israel well. No talk in there about how the Iranian people would be treated. But beyond that, it seems like it's more a military objective to destroy the Iranian Navy, get rid of their missile program, get rid of their nuclear program. Do you think regime change should be a goal?
Well, I think that the administration needs to be clear on what the goal is. You know, at one point we were talking about regime change, and then we heard Secretary Hegseth say something different. I think that we need to articulate our objectives and our goals, because the American people right now are questioning whether or not we should be in this war. Latest polls see unaffiliated voters and even many conservative voters just questioning what we're doing there. Let's be very clear on what the objectives are. And I think the president owes the American people that. He owes Congress that, because with that clarity, then we can start building support for an engagement that could go on for more than the 2 months that I think beyond that 60-day period within the War Powers Resolution, there has to either be a very clear commitment long-term and a request of Congress, or I believe a cessation of hostilities. One of the two have to occur.
This morning, Barack Ravid and Mark Caputo are reporting for Axios that the United States, the Trump administration, is weighing sending in special forces to Iran to seize Iran's enriched uranium. That actually would constitute boots on the ground. Do you think that would cross a line where congressional approval is needed, or do you think that falls within the 60 days that you referred to?
When you start putting boots on the ground, and those boots on the ground may need reinforcement, that starts looking like a longer-term conflict. And the last thing we want to do is live paycheck to paycheck if we believe that we need to ultimately do what Obama failed to do, and that is to keep Iran in check in terms of their nuclear capabilities. So, Jake, I feel like if we're starting to ramp up in that direction, it makes the 60-day window look less likely to achieve. So let's just be straight up with the American people. Let's move with a discussion about what an authorization for the use of military force looks like, and provide the legitimacy to the president. I believe that some of the reasons why you may see some hesitancy among voters right now is they're just not clear what we're doing and how long we're going to be doing it. We need to provide clarity there so that we can get the American people squarely behind the effort as well.
Senator Tillis in North Carolina, I know you've got some kudzu to kill. Thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.
As President Trump's war in the Mideast expands, Congress shows no signs of wanting to rein it in. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy joins us next. Plus, as the war sends oil prices skyrocketing, what does that mean for you at the gas pump?
CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. Weekdays at 6 a.m. on CNN.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn an average of over $23 an hour. Because sometimes a little extra goes a long way. At Amazon, skills training and apprenticeships can move hourly employees into higher paying roles.
It's not helpful.
Try the Allen wrench.
Kind of helpful.
First, you get hit by psoriasis. And now, you get hit again. This time by joint pain. It's a double whammy. It could be psoriatic arthritis, a chronic inflammatory disease that attacks your joints on the inside and your skin on the outside. If you've been hit by, find out more about psoriatic arthritis at doublewhammy.com and talk to your doctor.
I can clean your teeth, but I can't wash your whole mouth.
Yes, we're toothbrushes, not mouth brushes.
Listerine works with brushing to deliver 5 times more cleaning power, plus it contains clinically proven essential oils.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth.
Thought they were cooling off on the sidelines? Well, they're just getting warmed up.
Surprise! DirecTV got hot.
Hey, you know, I played in high school.
Really?
Well, I went to high school. I didn't go to high school.
Anyway, it's never been easier to keep up with your favorite sports on live TV and streaming apps.
So hot.
Wait, there's no ice in yours.
Why would I ruin a perfectly good bath?
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
Go ahead, crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
Zepbound? Watch this.
When I'm not feeling stuck losing the pounds, only to gain them back again. Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off.
Watch this.
People taking it lost up to 48 pounds. In a study, people using Zepbound lost an average of 50 pounds compared to an average of 33 pounds with the Wegovy injection.
Watch this.
Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take if allergic to it or if you or someone in your family had MTC or MEN2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about Zepbound.
Watch this.
Tournament of Champions 7 is here. 32 world-class chefs going head-to-head in a bracket competition.
I have zero margin for error.
This is going to be epic.
All new Tournament of Champions tonight at 8.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
If you or a loved one have mesothelioma, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you.
800-821-4000.
And welcome back to State of the Union. President Trump is not ruling out sending ground troops into Iran. Joining us now is a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy. Senator, thanks so much for being here. So, as I just referenced, this morning on Axios, two very well-sourced reporters in the administration, Barack Ravid and Mark Caputo for Axios, are reporting that the U.S. is weighing, they have not made a decision, but weighing, sending in special forces to specifically seize Iran's enriched uranium. You heard Senator Tillis say that might necessitate congressional authorization for use of force. What's your reaction?
I mean, this is already a war that is becoming an ongoing disaster. It gets worse if the president is talking about putting ground forces in. You're talking at that point about dozens, if not hundreds, of new American casualties. I think this administration just fails to understand how to achieve any of their objectives. So their objectives shift by the minute. Sometimes we're pursuing regime change, sometimes we're not. They have been consistent about trying to eliminate Iran's nuclear program, but what they fail to understand is that you can't bomb knowledge out of existence. Even if you were to do something wildly dangerous, like putting American ground forces in to try to extract some of their enriched uranium, there's still going to be the knowledge inside Iran so that if you don't actually succeed in putting a new leader inside that country, they'll just be able to rebuild that capacity as soon as American forces are gone. So this is a billion-dollar waste of money. Every single day, we are pursuing objectives that the administration can't actually effectuate, including using military force to try to destroy the knowledge that already exists inside Iran to build a nuclear weapon.
Right, but to play devil's advocate here, surely you can bomb enough to like degrade their capabilities and also create a deterrence. I mean, in 2020, you wrote about Iran after you met with the foreign minister, quote, "I have no delusions about Iran. They're our adversary responsible for the killing of thousands of Americans and unacceptable levels of support for terrorist organizations throughout the Middle East." So you're taking issue with the way this war is being conducted. You take issue with the fact that they killed the Ayatollah and they're taking out the missile facilities and taking out the nuclear enrichment facilities?
So there are all sorts of regimes that I oppose around the world, but that doesn't mean that I advocate for the United States military to go in with aerial campaigns and ground campaigns to eliminate that leadership, because what we have vast experience with, especially in the Middle East, is that leads to more destabilization, more problems, more threats against the United States. And again, let's be clear, even though Donald Trump says that his goal is regime change, it doesn't look as if we're going to do anything except substitute one hardline leader with another hardline leader. And that, in the end, is going to make Iran a place that continues to engage in provocations throughout the region and against the United States after our military campaign is done. This, in the end, just doesn't seem to achieve anything other than waste $1 billion a day and drive up prices for Americans here at home.
So your former colleague, Senator, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he would say, were he here, there is a difference between Iran having a nuclear weapon and all the other regimes you're referring to that you oppose their leaders. I imagine you're talking about China and Russia, in that the mullahs in Iran, this is, again, Rubio's characterization, are madmen, and they believe in holy war, and they believe in killing the crusaders of the United States and the Jews of Israel. There is a special degree of unacceptability for them having a nuclear weapon.
So, yeah, I don't disagree, but what I disagree with is that an aerial military campaign or even the insertion of ground forces can permanently dislodge Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Again, you were talking about knowledge. That can't be bombed out of existence.
So how do you stop it?
A diplomatic agreement. We had a diplomatic agreement. Barack Obama negotiated an agreement in which Iran was more than a year away from getting a weapon. We had daily inspections, scouring the country. It was working. Donald Trump's advisors told him it was working. He threw that agreement into the trash, which precipitated the crisis that we are in today. This is a place where diplomacy probably is the only true path to make sure that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon.
So the administration is reportedly weighing Congress to approve an additional $50 billion in funding for these operations. You have said you're a hell no, not just a no, on funding the war. We have seen this movie before. We know that that vote will be cast as, especially if you run for higher office, you voting against the troops.
Oh, come on. I mean, the American people don't want this war. They don't want this war. They have seen what happens when American troops go into places like Iraq, places like Afghanistan. Ultimately, we get a lot of people killed. We waste a lot of dollars. The one thing the American people are clear about is that they do not want the United States dragged into another long-term war in the Middle East. If you support the troops, then you should be voting against funding this war so that we get our troops out of harm's way. Virtually nothing good happened from sending thousands of Americans to die inside Iraq in the 2000s. And if we don't learn that lesson, then shame on every single one of us.
So new evidence suggests that the U.S. military may have been responsible for a strike on a girls' elementary school in Iran. Iranian officials say at least 168 children and 14 teachers were killed. We have not independently verified those numbers. Trump was asked about it. He said he thinks Iran did it. What do you know as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee? And if it was the U.S., do you think there should be accountability? And do you trust Secretary Hegseth to bring about that accountability?
I think it is likely the United States that carried out this attack on this school. I think it's unforgivable under any circumstances, but the fact that this was one of our first targeting decisions, that this mistake was made on the first day of war, I think speaks to the incompetence of our leadership at the Department of Defense. There's also some reporting in the last 48 hours that we hit a desalinization plant. That may be an intentional strike. If we're hitting girls' schools by mistake and trying to separate the ability of the Iranian people to get clean water, that's a war ultimately that's going to give rise to a broader Shia militancy against the United States. It was our attacks on civilians, some intentional, some unintentional, inside Afghanistan that ended up giving rise to giving a second chance to the Taliban.
Do you think the strike against the girls' school is a war crime?
Well, I think if it's a mistake, it's very different than an intentional strike. So there are undoubtedly mistakes that are made in war. I trust that this was a mistake, but the fact that it was a mistake made on the first day, I just think speaks to the fact that we don't have serious people right now making decisions at the White House.
Before you go, sir, I want to turn to the shakeup at the Department of Homeland Security. You work with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. Will you vote for him to be the next Secretary of DHS?
I won't vote for him, in part because I have not yet heard that he's going to make any commitment to clean up the broad illegality at that department. And I think you were right in your questioning of my colleague, Senator Tillis. It doesn't really matter who's the Secretary of Homeland Security. Stephen Miller is calling the shots. You know, a recent judge said that they are violating 96 different court orders. There's still a risk of more Americans being killed. They are rounding up and disappearing thousands of legal immigrants to this country. Until we have a Homeland Security Secretary and a White House that are committed to ending this illegality, the terrorizing of American communities by the Department of Homeland Security, I'm not going to support anybody who's up for that mission.
All right. Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat of Connecticut, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Coming up, with the Iran war choking off a key shipping lane in the Strait of Hormuz, how high could oil prices get? The Secretary of the Department of Energy, Chris Wright, is next.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
One a day 50 plus multivitamins are formulated for your overall health with nutrients to support brain and muscle function. So you're not just setting the pace, you're one step ahead.
Next time, slow down.
One a day 50 plus, the one for you.
Keep steady and rest your head. Don't you be pulled by the silence. Get ready for storms ahead. We are the lamb and the lion.
There is fear in our communities, growing threats to our freedoms, and it's getting worse every day. I wrote this song to meet this moment, and if you're outraged too, the time to fight is now. Because all of us at the American Civil Liberties Union are fighting with you. And together, we're a force to be reckoned with. So please join us as a guardian of liberty today. You can call or go online to myaclu.org. Your gift of just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, helps protect our democracy and all of our freedoms.
Breathe out, don't keep it in. Grief is a sacred giver. Keep steady and rest your head. At dawn we ride together.
This is no time to retreat or give up, because when we fight, we win. Together we'll defend free speech, due process, civil liberties, and all our rights. Please join us. Call or go to myaclu.org today. Use your credit card and you'll receive this special We the People t-shirt to show you're helping to resist those who would take away our rights.
When the sky turns gold and we will ride, ride. For mothers, fathers who have cried, ride. When the sky turns gold and we will ride.
Together, we will protect people, not power, because we the people means all of us. Please call or go online to myaclu.org today.
United Healthcare knows you've got your whole life ahead of you. Whatever comes next, you can count on United Healthcare to be there with reliable Medicare coverage.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future,
I definitely needed a plan.
With his advisor Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts.
One for now, one for later, and of course, his retirement.
A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn-dominium, kids.
Maybe kids.
The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
Every neighborhood I go through, I'm always looking at the garage doors.
That one's an Amar Classic in Northampton and Walnut. Home run.
You know, I'll be driving around with my nephews or my brothers, and I'm like, man, that door looks familiar. It can annoy my family a lot. My nephew's like, Uncle Logan, we already know, you said that 5 times.
My favorite door is a full view door, classy look.
Probably a mosaic with glass going down one side.
Here at Precision, we're just a phone call away. Let's do a garage door and let's change the look of the neighborhood.
Precision Garage Door Service, a name you can trust.
Spectrum News is built for community and stories that matter. It's built for weather every 10 minutes and managed local news 24/7. When you advertise with Spectrum Reach on Spectrum News, you're connecting your business with a highly engaged audience on the fastest growing local news network. So when you're ready to build for what's next, Spectrum Reach has the full suite of advertising solutions to help. Spectrum Reach, built for what's now and what's next.
And the Oscars, Still Golden, Saturday at 10 on CNN or watch on the CNN app.
People in Tehran, Iran woke up this morning to smoke-filled skies and raining oil after the Israeli military overnight struck fuel sites in the capital city, sending flames and toxic smoke high into the air. Joining us now is President Trump's Energy Secretary, Chris Wright. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Secretary. So let's start with these images out of Tehran after the Israeli military says it struck fuel sites in the Iranian capital. Is this going to be a new continuing strategy for the U.S. and Israel targeting Iran's oil industry?
No, there are no plans to target Iran's oil industry, their natural gas industry, or anything about their energy industry. Yeah, these are Israeli strikes. These are local fuel depots to fill up the gas tank, in this neighborhood in Tehran. The U.S. is targeting zero energy infrastructure. So we want to end a 47-year war.
CNN's Fred Pleitkin's on the ground in Tehran, and he reports thick black smoke and oil raining from the sky. One resident told CNN, it, quote, feels like we're suffocating. I know that the president has voiced concern for the Iranian people in the last few months. You are a former energy executive. What are the health impacts from these strikes on fuel sites?
Yeah, of course, there's air quality impacts of that, but I would focus on the thousands of American soldiers that the Iranian regime has killed over the years. They opened their regime by kidnapping 66 Americans and holding them hostage for over a year. 3 years later, they killed hundreds of Marines in Beirut, doing nothing of aggression towards Iran. And then they continued that through IED bombs in Iraq. So this is a murderous regime. In fact, they recently killed somewhere between 10 and 30,000 of their own citizens protesting their murderous regime. So that's a far greater worry than a few days of lower air quality in Tehran. They're just not even on the same magnitude.
Let's talk about gas prices here at home. The head of Gas Buddy's petroleum analysis told me a few days ago that 2 of the 10 largest single-day price increases in history happened this week. The price of oil jumped 36%, the largest one-week spike since 1983. President Trump told Reuters about gas prices, quote, if they rise, they rise. Is that really the message of the Trump administration to consumers who are already struggling?
Oh, the Trump administration has been all in on lowering energy prices, and I would say quite successfully. We've seen a dramatic decline in gasoline prices and diesel prices. Soon you will see it in electricity prices as well. So Trump administration, in stark contrast to the Biden administration, his goal has been to lower energy prices. The Biden administration quite successful in raising energy prices. Gasoline today is still $1.50 a gallon cheaper than it was in the middle of the Biden administration. But you're right, we want it back below $3 a gallon, and it will be again before too long.
Well, what do you mean by too long? How much longer?
Look, you never know exactly the time frame of this, but in the worst case, this is a week's. This is not a month's thing. This is Iran has continued to build up their capabilities. First, a massive expansion of their missile program so that they can shield the completion of their nuclear program. It is simply unacceptable for the United States, for the Middle East geography, and for the world economy to have a terrorist regime with nuclear weapons and a gigantic missile arsenal. They've raised energy prices for Americans for decades. It's finally going to come to an end.
So one of the reasons for the spike in prices at the pump is roughly 20% of the global oil shipments pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That traffic has ground to a halt since the war began because of Iranian threats. The Trump administration says that the U.S. Navy has offered to start escorting oil tankers through the strait. Have any oil companies taken the Trump administration up on that offer, and when might those escorts begin?
Well, a large tanker went through the Gulf about 24 hours ago, through the Straits of Hormuz. So we're still focused right now on continuing to attrit their missile and drone capability to reduce their ability to disrupt traffic, to attack their 10 neighbors that they have been attacking. And that work is going tremendously well. Their missile launches are down by 90%, well over 80% reduction in their ability to fire drones. So yeah, we're not too long away, I think, before you'll see more regular resumption of ship traffic through the Straits of Hormuz.
It's great that a tanker made its way through, but as you know, it's usually 60 to 100 a day that make their way through.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, we're nowhere near normal traffic right now, and and that'll take some time. But again, worst case, that's a few weeks. That's not months.
For months, the Trump administration.
And we have that oil. We have the world is very well supplied with oil right now. The United States is a net oil exporter. We're a net natural gas exporter. We are suffering high prices, not in natural gas, but in oil, because it's a globally connected market. We're communicating with our allies abroad. The oil is there. You're seeing a little bit of fear premium in the marketplace, but the world is not short of oil today or natural gas.
So for months, the Trump administration has used economic sanctions to pressure allies like India to stop buying Russian oil. But because of this war, the Treasury Department just gave India a 30-day waiver allowing them to buy Russian oil. The Kremlin says it's already seeing, quote, a significant increase in demand for Russian oil. This at the same time that the Russians, according to an intelligence official to CNN, are helping the Iranians know and locate American service members and targets in the region in this war. Is this war undermining, at least in the short term, the administration's goal of isolating Russia and making allies less dependent upon Russian oil?
It is not. The United States policy towards Russia has not changed at all. India is very clear on that. They had displaced all Russian oil imports, and they were raising their imports from the United States, from Venezuela, and other nations. India's been a great partner through this. But I did call up the Indians, as did Treasury Secretary Bessent, and say, look, there's a whole bunch of oil that's floating to wait to unload at Chinese refineries. Instead of having it wait 6 weeks to unload there, let's just pull that oil forward, have it land at Indian refineries, and tamp this fear of shortage of oil, tamp the price spikes and the concerns we see in the marketplace. It's just a pragmatic effort that has a short time span. No change in policy towards Russia.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright, thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, does President Trump risk making the same mistakes as previous presidents in the Middle East? My panel's here to discuss.
What you do today changes what you need tonight. Maybe you're getting into something, or getting over something, growing, making a comeback, or making it up as you go. Changing days call for changing nights. That's why the new Comfort Mode mattress from Sleep Number adapts to your changing life. Softer or firmer for personalized comfort night after night. Only at Sleep Number.
Living with chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine, and treatment is 4 times a year. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they'd started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible, you may pay $0.
So I've heard Fisher Investments is a fiduciary.
Yes, we always put clients first, even if that means a little straight talk.
Like what?
We tell our clients what they need to hear, like if their lifestyle might lead them to outlive their money.
We'd want to know that.
Other times, we keep clients from making big investment mistakes that can impact their future.
We'd want to know that too.
At Fisher, we use a disciplined approach, keeping you on track for a comfortable retirement. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Known for sharing what you love. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is an immunotherapy known to treat cancer. FDA approved for 18 types of cancer, including certain early-stage cancers. One of those cancers is triple-negative breast cancer. Keytruda may be used with chemotherapy medicines as treatment before surgery and then continued alone after surgery when you have early-stage breast cancer and are at high risk of it coming back.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death.
See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, headache, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, persistent or severe muscle pain or weakness, muscle cramps, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions, including immune or nervous system problems, such as Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, or myasthenia gravis, or Guillain-Barré syndrome, an organ, tissue, or stem cell transplant, or receive chest radiation. Keytruda can harm your unborn baby.
See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you. It's true. Keytruda.
Part of my design philosophy stems from the idea that the world is chaotic. In designing a home, I can design a refuge from that. Spectrum Mobile allows us to expand the walls of our office to the job site. I can pull up information that I otherwise wouldn't have access to. The internet is much more of a tool for us. I cannot imagine running my business without Spectrum.
Get your business free fiber-powered internet forever. Call to find out how.
TV advertising is evolving. Now more than ever, it gives brands more effective and affordable ways to reach consumers with data-driven targeting to deliver your message to just the right audience. Consumers today spend more time with TV content than with any other type of media. And with multi-screen advertising, you can create memorable campaigns that reach your audiences across screens, anywhere, and know that it worked. TV viewers take action, and those actions build brands. Get your brand on TV today.
Glaze in San Francisco, and this is CNN.
As President Trump escalates his war with Iran, he says there will be no deal with Tehran without the regime's unconditional surrender. My panel is here to discuss. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Kareem, let me start with you. We are hearing Iran has picked a supreme leader, though they've not announced a name yet. What are you hearing?
By all accounts, the person who's most likely to be selected is the son of the late Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. He's called Mojtaba Khamenei, 56 years old, just like his father's.
Well, there's Khomeini and Khamenei. You mean the most recent?
The most recent,
okay,
who just passed. Mojtaba Khamenei is 56. He's very close to the Revolutionary Guards, who will be the power behind the throne. And my view, Jake, if he indeed is selected, it's going to undermine the original rationale for the revolution. The revolution overthrew a hereditary monarchy and said hereditary monarchy is un-Islamic, and now they've set up a hereditary theocracy.
Do you think that unconditional surrender is a realistic goal?
I think this is Trump giving a maximalist goal. I think that it makes a lot more sense to look at what Admiral Brad Cooper has said the goals are. He's the guy in charge of CENTCOM, carrying out the campaign. And he's been very consistent, so as General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And it's to make sure that the regime can no longer pose a threat to Americans and our regional allies. And that has much more concrete goals that are achievable. And so I think that's what we should be looking at. And I think President Trump, again, it's very typical of Trump to give that maximalist goal, but it's actually looking for something short of that.
So let's talk about the politics of this. Jonah, the White House this week posted a series of videos online comparing the war in Iran to what looked like illegal hits on the NFL field, baseball grand slams, movie clips, some of which featured the bad guys. I don't know if they knew that or cared about that. What was your reaction to all that?
It feels very much consistent with, say, Pete Hegseth's press conferences, where there's a very sort of like chesty McBro frat vibe to a lot of this stuff. I don't like the gamification of war. I don't mind a little like pride in taking, and how well the military is doing, but it just shows how much of this administration lives online and thinks that Twitter and social media are the real world and that this is how you communicate. It might work with some younger people, but I find it kind of gross.
What did you think when Pete Hegseth 6 days ago came out and said that the news media only covers killed in action troops because we're trying to make President Trump look bad, that we only do that in a prominent way for that reason?
Well, the American public deserves to know how their service is being used and what sacrifices are being made in its name, and this impacts families. But the administration had plenty of opportunity to make a case about this war. They had the State of the Union the night before. When President Bush was going into Iraq, he used 75% of his speech at the State of the Union to talk about the war. I mean, you look back on it and you think, well, at least they cared enough about the American public to lie to us back then. But we didn't even see that kind of run up. What we see is 5 or 6 different days of 5 or 6 different rationales, with Lindsey Graham now landing on holy war. So this is not the type of effort that is sincere in trying to get the American public to go along with a ground invasion of Iran.
You look like you want to say something.
No, I think that the administration has been very clear about what the goals are. I think that we have seen this coming for a long time, since this is really a continuation from Trump 1, the pressure campaign around the Iran regime, trying to get the regime to back away from its nuclear program. Then we had Operation Midnight Hammer, where we successfully degraded the nuclear program. And then President Trump wanted them to be chastened, to back away from their program, and to end their funding of terrorist proxies throughout the region. We heard about that regularly. And so I don't think that anybody's confused about the purpose or the goals of the war. The other thing I would say,
so that's fascinating to hear that.
The last
come
point
back to you.
About the videos, I would say, I agree with Jonah. I don't like them either, but I don't think we're the audience. I think that there are
Oh, it's definitely young men
but it's not
under
just
the
young,
age 25.
Well, and veterans. That there's been so many veterans of the global war on terror who've been maimed by the Iran regime. And now many of them are very in supportive of going after the regime now. They want to win. If it boosts the morale of veterans and those fighting this war and hurts the morale of our enemies, we want to break their political will, I think that we understand why they're doing it.
I'm not sure what numbers or stories you're looking at about the lack of confusion about the purpose of this war. Yes, there's been threats of Iran, President Trump striking Iran, but also back in June, the idea was that the nuclear program had been completely defeated. And there was posting on the White House website that it's fake news to suggest otherwise. And now we're hearing that the nuclear program came back so quickly. It's a constantly moving narrative target, and it's a choose your own adventure depending upon the day. But the idea that the people who served in Iraq and Afghanistan support this war, that veterans support this war, that the numbers are not showing that at all in polling, in data, even anecdotally, because those are the ones who realized we served, we were maimed, we sacrificed treasure and blood, and Iraq fell apart and became a breeding ground for ISIS. Afghanistan, the Taliban are now back, stronger than ever. The goals of ground war about regime change, government in a box, has not worked in the past, and that's where we're headed.
What are the risks in terms of the U.S. and Israel losing the support of the Iranian people who hate the regime?
That's a real danger, Jake. I mean, we have to remember why we've gotten ourselves into this situation. Last January, the Iranian regime killed up to 30,000 of its own people, and President Trump had said to the people of Iran, help is on the way. And, you know, American general told me that all populations suffering under tyranny want a magic bullet, which is only going to kill the bad guys and not do harm to good people. And unfortunately, that is not how war is ever conducted.
Any final thoughts on how the administration so far has conducted this itself? It's only been 8 days.
Yeah, so look, I mean, where I disagree with Yara is just simply that there are a lot of people who want to fall back to their old, you know, sort of talking points about the Iraq War, forever wars. That's a huge talking point on the right, on the far right. You know, I don't think this is going to be a forever war. I mean, you never know, but I think the odds are much greater that Trump figures out an exit strategy pretty soon. The second part of his unconditional surrender comment was like, I get to define unconditional surrender. So literally, it just means I get to decide when this war is over.
So here's the thing, the enemy has a choice in this as well, and this is the part that gets forgotten.
But my point is simply that Trump does not like long, extended commitments, that his whole record is about antiseptic things. You're going to see a huge shift in the debate pretty soon, I would bet, to why isn't he seeing this through, rather than why did he get us into a forever war.
Thanks so much, everyone. Great conversation. When we come back, the Trump administration doesn't like some of the questions it's getting from pesky reporters about this war. Stay with us.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
VisionWorks makes things simple. We organize frames by shape and price.
Oh, I love these.
And if you change your mind?
Yeah, I changed my mind.
There's our 100-day guarantee. VisionWorks. See the difference.
Arthritis causes pain in your joints. Unlike pills, Voltaren gel is applied to the site of pain, penetrating deep through the skin to the joint, reducing intense pain caused by inflammation so you can move more freely. Voltaren, clinically proven long-lasting arthritis pain relief.
I wish I could just watch live sports at home.
Oh, Sling let you do that.
I wish I could watch live sports at home at a low price.
Sling let you do that. Sling let you do that. Sling let you do that.
Yeah, well, I wish I could watch live sports and pause my subscription when my team sucks and still get hundreds of channels for free.
Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup, or pause and watch for free. Sling lets you do that. Base package required.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis? With fewer symptoms from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, where would you go? Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. And for adults with active psoriatic arthritis, Tremfya goes beyond the skin. Less joint pain, stiffness, and swelling is possible. And Tremfya even reduced fatigue. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Some messes feel impossible to clean.
This is impossible.
But now new Mr. Clean Magic Erasers make impossible possible. Just wet and squeeze and effortlessly cut through 100% of dirt, grease, and grime. So this is
100% possible.
They're upgraded and last 2 times longer to cut through even more tough messes. And use the new shower and tub scrubber for a deep clean in half the time. On shower glass and even bathtub soap scum.
Yes!
With Mr. Clean,
The possibilities are endless.
it's not just clean, it's Mr. Clean.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms despite treatment? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently, and it's a once-daily pill.
When symptoms try to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
Rinvoq helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
Rapid symptom relief. Visible repair of the intestinal lining.
And lasting steroid-free remission. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50+ with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Put UC and Crohn's in check and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Okay, you got this. It's just a laxative. How scary could it be? You can do hard things.
Honey, relax. It's Miralax. It works with the water in your body to hydrate and soften for gentle relief.
Relax. It's Miralax.
What are you doing? We need to save time.
There.
What just happened?
I just saved time. By buying a car in Carvana, it was all online. Got pre-qualified instantly. Great terms. Save time and buy your car in Carvana.
It's time to rethink what a complete multivitamin can do, like support you as you navigate a new country. Taking Centrum Silver daily is clinically proven to help slow cognitive aging in older adults. You did it.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
If you or a loved one have mesothelioma, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you.
800-821-4000.
You see President Trump there at Dover Air Force Base yesterday, welcoming home the remains of 6 American service members killed so far in the conflict with Iran, what's called a dignified transfer. Their names are 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody, 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore, 35-year-old Captain Cody Cork, 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, 45-year-old Major Jeffrey O'Brien, and 54-year-old Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert Marzan. They were killed by an Iranian drone strike on an operations center in Kuwait, a source telling CNN there were no warnings, no sirens before the attack. When reporters began asking about that deadly strike almost a week ago, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, well, he bristled at the questions.
When a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad.
It's just not even remotely why we cover service members who are killed. To state the obvious, journalists reporting prominently on American service members who have made the ultimate sacrifice. This long precedes Secretary Hegseth's tenure. It's been going on for decades, And it isn't about making the president, any president, look bad. It should be front page news. It certainly was in the home states of Sergeant Tegens and Captain Cork and Sergeant Amore. In Iowa, home of Sergeant Cody, Major O'Brien, and Chief Marzan, it was front page news 3 days in a row, as it should be. Hegseth's bizarre accusation led to the White House attacking the news media, specifically CNN. But let's be clear, it is the news media's responsibility to cover this war, not to cheerlead for it. It is our responsibility to ask questions of government officials, especially when the lives of American service members are on the line, especially when civilians abroad, whether in Iran or Israel or anywhere else, are being killed. Questions such as, were there adequate anti-air defenses at that U.S. base? Or even more basic ones such as, are we at war with Iran?
We're not at war right now.
We didn't start this war.
Nobody should classify this as war.
I have to go back and look at the war.
Okay. Or how about, how long will this conflict last?
You can say 4 weeks, but it could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 3.
I swear that rings a bell.
It could last, 6 days, 6 weeks. I doubt 6 months.
Yeah, see, we remember what happened the last time not enough reporters challenged an administration launching a war in the Middle East. And now this administration is attempting to grab the same tired playbook. They're attacking CNN for reporting inside Iran, showing what life looks like there. They're attacking the news media for asking questions of the president or the Secretary of Defense. They're attacking us for covering troop deaths. Guess what? We're not going to stop. It doesn't matter how many times the propaganda campaign that accompanies any war is deployed against us. So get used to it. Thanks for spending your Sunday morning with us. The news continues next.
First, you get hit by psoriasis. And now, you get hit again. This time by joint pain. It's a double whammy. It could be psoriatic arthritis, a chronic inflammatory disease that attacks your joints on the inside and your skin on the outside. If you've been hit by, find out more about psoriatic arthritis at doublewhammy.com and talk to your doctor.
To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, Jess from Planetary Design will pour 60 cups of coffee for 60 adventurers.
Shoot, lost count.
Shop small business on Amazon. To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, John from Bluehorn Beeswax will light 60 candles for Marv and Ethel's 60th wedding anniversary.
Marv? Ethel?
Shop small business on Amazon.
Zepbound? Watch this.
Watch this.
When I'm not feeling stuck losing the pounds, only to gain them back again, Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off. Don't take if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about Zepbound, the #1 most prescribed weight loss medicine. Zepbound? Watch this.
Watch this.
Our family started Cane Brew with a dream and a lot of hard work. Now we're thriving, growing, and hiring. Artificial intelligence has made all the difference for our business. We're a case study for how AI is strengthening American manufacturing. Washington needs to help AI flourish. It's vital to our economic security. We cannot let China dominate these technologies. America must innovate and win. Let's protect our competitive edge.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
A smart advertising strategy starts with smart.
I just want people to see my commercial and come to my business. Does it have to be that complicated?
Not really. Spectrum Reach gets you results by putting your ads in front of your customers, wherever they're watching.
Okay, but is that just Spectrum subscribers?
Beyond Spectrum subscribers, we reach most of the people in your market, effectively and efficiently. That drives your business without breaking the bank.
That's smart. How do I get started?
Go to SpectrumReach.com.
Tajin chamoy sauce, that tangy taste explosion with a fruity kick, is perfect for adding flavor your way. What's your way to Tajin it?
You know it's true. Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Swisher wants to live forever. Coming soon on CNN.
This is GPS, the global public square. Welcome to all of you in the United States and around the world. I'm Fareed Zakaria, coming to you live from New York. Today on the program, the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran is now 8 days and 8 hours old. We'll take a look at it from many angles, starting with an overview of the war and America's role in it with President Biden's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. And the Kurds. Their name is on everybody's lips, but just who are they, and could they play a role in this war with Iran? I'll talk to an American diplomat who has been working with them for nearly 40 years. Also, the U.S. has, by last count, struck over 3,000 targets in Iran. That is a lot of bombs, missiles, and other ordnance. America and its allies have also shot down thousands of incoming attacks. Will the Pentagon run out of munitions? Will Iran? I'll ask The Economist's defense editor. But first, here's my take. Regime change by jazz improvisation. That is how the respected scholar of Iran, Karim Sajdapur, described the Trump administration's strategy in the war it has initiated with Iran. Sadly, it's the most accurate description of the scattered, shifting, and uncertain approach that emanates from Washington these days. The president launched this war exhorting the Iranian people to overthrow their government.
It will be yours to take.
Perhaps he had assumed that the regime would collapse instantly. But when it didn't, in a day or two, he changed course. He began musing about dealing with potential leaders within the regime and praising the U.S. intervention in Venezuela as the model to be followed. Perfect, quote unquote, precisely because far from regime change, it only involved the arrest of 2 people. Pete Hegseth specifically denied that this was a regime change war, as did his senior aide Abrish Kobi. Both said the goal was merely to degrade Iran's military forces, many of which had been, quote unquote, obliterated last June in a 12-day bombing attack that included the use of stealth bombers. But then in a new twist, Trump reached out to Kurdish leaders in Iran and Iraq, promising them support if they would join the fight, presumably not to degrade Iran's military power, but to topple the government in Tehran, maybe even change Iran's borders. This weekend, however, the president backpedaled on this plan. Trump has also now proclaimed that there won't be a deal without unconditional surrender from Iran. So the goal isn't regime change, except when it is. The most dangerous element of this war, however, is not that the lead actor is improvising like a saxophone player. It is that the 2 countries waging the war have separate and perhaps incompatible agendas. For Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, the war is clearly about destroying the Islamic Republic. In a video he released, he acknowledged that this war was the culmination of a 40-year-old dream. Israel's military strategy has been focused, brilliantly implemented, and aligned with their goal. The Israeli strikes are decapitating Iran's leadership, destroying its military forces, striking its leadership compounds, even hitting police facilities. It is, as the Wall Street Journal reported, methodically destroying Iran's police state, leaving the regime ripe for a collapse. And on the current trajectory, Israel might well succeed in its objective. And that will likely result in a power vacuum in the country, which could invite revolt, but will almost certainly result in a civil war. Keep in mind, whoever may seek power, this regime will fight back. The appropriate analogy here is Syria, a country that was mired in a civil war for more than a decade, with hundreds of thousands dead and millions of refugees. Iran is a country that could easily explode, as Tom Friedman has written. It's filled with ethnic groups, Kurds, Armenians, Azeris, with ties to neighboring countries. They've lived peaceably together, but as history demonstrates from the Balkans to Iraq, when order collapses and a power vacuum develops, people retreat to their tribal groups and lose trust in others. And that's how a civil war begins. What would fuel this war is the fact that Iran's government has a vast cadre of dedicated soldiers, armed to the teeth, who will fight against any new government or group. Its Revolutionary Guard is estimated to be almost 200,000 people strong, with an additional paramilitary force, the Basij, of several hundreds of thousands. And then there's the regular armed forces, which is around 400,000. Just as Saddam Hussein's army melted away after the American invasion, and then much of it reappeared as an insurgency, so too one could imagine the IRGC fighting in different garbs to deny any new government the ability to control the country. In Libya, more than 14 years after Gaddafi fell, there is still no one group that controls the entire country. It's much easier to destroy a state than to rebuild one. For Israel, this is an acceptable outcome. It rids the country of its greatest foe, and if that produces chaos in Iran, so be it. The Syrian civil war actually improved Israel's security because it did not face a major Arab state dedicated to fighting it anymore. But an Iranian civil war is not in America's interests, and it's not in the interests of America's closest Arab allies, who depend on the region being stable and predictable so that oil, goods, money, and people can flow freely and easily through it. Washington needs to find a way to ensure that it secures the gains it has made in this war, a disarmed and defanged Iran, but without pushing the country into civil war. There are still ways to bolster the achievements and close out this war. As usual, Qatar could play a useful role as an intermediary. But time is running out. At some point, this war will reach a tipping point, and no one will be able to control the spillover. Go to FareedZakaria.com for a link to my Washington Post column this week, and let's get started. There's a lot to discuss. Let's get straight to it with Jake Sullivan. He was one of the key negotiators of the Obama administration's nuclear deal with Iran in 2015 that Trump pulled out of. More recently, he served as President Biden's national security advisor. He is also the co-host of a terrific new podcast called The Long Game. Jake, welcome. When you look at the situation right now, put yourself back in the White House, in the Situation Room, what are you seeing that encourages you, or what are you seeing that worries you?
Well, look, Fareed, on the encouraging side, the U.S. military is just simply remarkable. It's remarkable at being able to achieve tactical objectives, to execute operations with skill, professionalism, and courage. And that has been proven out here over the course of the past week. But the discouraging part is we are asking the U.S. military to put itself in harm's way, and we've already lost 6 service members, pointed towards a completely unclear objective. The administration has not been able to say with any clarity whatsoever what the ultimate goal of this war is. And in fact, they've given perhaps a dozen different explanations, shifting by the hour, by the day. And here, a week into the war, to have that level of muddiness, that muddle, I think is a huge challenge, because it suggests that this war got launched without being fully thought through, and that the end of this war is something that we have no kind of core concept as to what it will bring, or how the president will ultimately come out and say, okay, I'm done, I'm moving on. And that leaves us in an extremely precarious position.
Do you think, you mentioned the skill of the U.S. military, which really is extraordinary. I wonder whether the success of the Venezuela operation, the ability to extract these two people, Maduro and his wife, so seamlessly, in a sense, gave President Trump too much confidence in using military force without thinking through that question of what is this strategy behind that tactical genius.
You know, it's interesting, Fareed. My co-host on the podcast, The Long Game, John Feiner, and I wrote an op-ed in the New York Times shortly after the Venezuela raid. And in it, we basically said President Trump is going to draw the wrong lesson from this. He's going to think we can use military force anywhere, anytime, for any purpose, and it will all work out just fine. And we also pointed out that when you start using military force, the appetite grows with the eating. And I think President Trump saw that Maduro raid, saw what our special forces could do, looked to Iran and said, hey, let's try to put them to use there too, but could not identify a clear set of objectives at the end of the day, and obviously could not identify an imminent threat to the United States, necessitating the launching of this war at this time in this way. And so now, a week in, I think what they're doing is sitting in the Situation Room and basically saying, okay, what do we do? Should we just call it now? Do we have to get to full regime change? Do we have to actually put boots on the ground, as we've seen some reports they're considering? They're sitting around looking at one another and kind of shrugging their shoulders. And this, I think, is the core strategic problem of the conflict at this point.
And it really has widened in a way that, that frankly is greater than I would have guessed. The Iranians are, I mean, these are pinprick strikes, but they are affecting commerce. Daniel Yergin just wrote in the FT that this is the largest disruption in oil production and transport in history. What are you hearing from the region? You still have very, very strong contacts with the rulers of the Gulf and other Arab countries.
Look, the level of concern across the region, and you're right, I do speak with many people there on a daily basis, is sky high. But what these folks tell me is this was anticipated in a way. Maybe not as broad, but the basic concept was anticipated. Why? Put yourself in the shoes of the Iranian regime. You're getting pummeled by the U.S. and Israel. What are your options? Your best option from their perspective is to try to disrupt energy flows, to hit technology, to hit tourism, to hit finance, and they're selecting their targets across multiple countries very clearly to achieve the result of imposing greater and greater economic pain on the entire world and on the United States. Why? With the goal to try to hasten the end of this war. Because the sooner this war ends, from their perspective, the better in terms of their ability to survive and to reconsolidate power. So at the moment, this is basically a race between the U.S. trying to impose, and Israel trying to impose as much damage as possible. And I thought your opening comments were spot on in what Israel's trying to achieve here. And the Iranian regime trying to raise the price and the costs as high as possible. And who's suffering? The world is. The American people are. Gas prices, for example, have jumped dramatically just in the last week and promise to go even higher. And this is all part of the strategy of a much weaker opponent playing the hand that they have. And that is something that the administration should have anticipated coming into it.
Yes, it seems to me if you launch a kind of existential war against Iran, don't be surprised if they have an existential response, which is, you know, we're just going to blow up everything we can because this is regime survival for us. Anyway, stay with us, please. When we get back, I'm going to ask Jake Sullivan what this war means for Russia, for China, for America's adversaries when we come back.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
Arthritis causes pain in your joints. Unlike pills, Voltaren gel is applied to the site of pain, penetrating deep through the skin to the joint, reducing intense pain caused by inflammation so you can move more freely. Voltaren, clinically proven long-lasting arthritis pain relief.
You installed this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmers, you can get quality and savings.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms despite treatment? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently, and it's a once-daily pill.
When symptoms tried to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
Rinvoq helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
Rapid symptom relief, visible repair of the intestinal lining,
and lasting steroid-free remission. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
put UC and Crohn's in check, and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
What you do today changes what you need tonight. Introducing the new Comfort Mode mattress from Sleep Number. It changes as fast as your life does, personalizing your comfort every night. Only at Sleep Number.
Zepbound? Watch this.
Watch this.
When I'm not feeling stuck losing the pounds, only to gain them back again, Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off. Don't take if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about Zepbound, the #1 most prescribed weight loss medicine. Zepbound? Watch this.
Watch this.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
Okay, it's just a laxative. How scary could it be?
Honey, relax. It's Miralax. It works with the water in your body for gentle relief.
Relax. It's Miralax. For more fiber per serving than any other gummy, try Mirafiber.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo, pre-filled for self-injection.
Well, look at you powering through. You're not slowing down, you're raising eyebrows. Oh, and speed limits, you're way past those. Because you're playing for keeps. In other words, you're in your prime. So keep it that way with Ensure. 30 grams of protein to support your muscles and your mindset. Ensure yourself.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
If you or a loved one have mesothelioma, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you.
800-821-4000.
I'm back with Jake Sullivan, who served as National Security Advisor in the Biden administration. Jake, when President Trump was asked what he made of the fact that Russia was now providing material intelligence support about targeting and information on where U.S. troops were to the Iranians, he said he thought that was a stupid question. I'm not sure I understand. If it turns out that Russia is actually participating in a sense in the war, isn't that a big deal?
Oh, it's a huge deal. And I think his answer kind of tells you everything you need to know, because he didn't want to answer that question. So he lashed back, and he didn't want to answer the question because it raises a deeply uncomfortable truth. Russia is an adversary of the United States. They're an adversary who reportedly is actually supplying intelligence so that Iran can pinpoint locations where U.S. service members are present, or where U.S. capabilities, like our most sophisticated air defense radars, are present. And Iran has, in some cases, been able to hit those capabilities. So this is a huge deal, and it's just one piece of the way in which Vladimir Putin is trying to take advantage of this war. He's looking at rising oil prices and seeing an opportunity to get cash for his war machine. He's seeing the United States move all of its air defense interceptors to the Middle East and stop giving them to Ukraine, and so he's firing more missiles and drones at Ukraine, who has less to be able to defend itself. So as far as things go right now, one of the big winners in all of this is Vladimir Putin and Russia.
Yeah, the oil prices have gone up. They've told the Russians they can now sell, or they've told the Indians they can buy Russian oil. And as you say, the Ukraine battlefield is transformed. President Zelensky pointed out that the United States has fired 2,000 Tomahawk missiles in this 8 days of the war. He has asked for 200 and was never given them. Air defenses are not available to him now because they've all been diverted. As a kind of broader strategic issue, talk about the fact that we've gone from a war that we were supporting Ukraine in, which we kind of have to win, versus a war of choice here that we initiated without a clear purpose and without any provocation.
You know, it's really interesting because President Trump, from the very beginning, has basically blamed the Ukrainians for this war. He said at one point that it was the Ukrainians, not the Russians, who started it. He said it is the Ukrainians, not the Russians, who are the obstacles to ending it. And both of those things couldn't be further from the truth. And at a critical point in the negotiations, at a moment when President Trump could have come in massive support of Ukraine, with massive pressure on Russia to drive this to a just peace where the Ukrainians would finally know a just peace for themselves, President Trump decided instead to launch this massive adventure in the Middle East, leaving Ukraine with less to defend itself, leaving Russia with more money pouring into its coffers, and leaving Russia with an opportunity to work with Iran against the United States. And meanwhile, President Zelensky, despite all of that, is trying to actually help America defend itself by offering up Ukrainian capabilities that have been honed over the last 4 years to shoot down Russian drones, Iranian drones out of the skies. So we have one leader who is a great friend of the United States, who we should be supporting and instead are castigating. Another leader, Putin, who is a foe of the United States, who in effect we are rewarding by having launched this war of choice in the Middle East.
You've spent more time talking to the Chinese than I think almost anybody in recent decades. You've spent hours with Wang Yi, who is the kind of foreign policy supremo. What is the lesson you think China is taking from what's happening?
I think they're taking two major lessons, one a bit more tactical, one strategic and more long-term. The more tactical lesson that they're taking is that they need to continue to take steps to shore up their energy supply. They're nervous about the fact that the Straits of Hormuz are closed right now, and they've gone out of their way to try to convince the Iranians to allow Chinese ships, unlike any other ship, to actually pass through the Strait of Hormuz unmolested. And in fact, we've seen a couple instances of that happening. They're also trying to massively build up their petroleum reserve, their stockpile of oil in their country. And they'll keep doing that. But the larger strategic lesson that they're going to learn from this, Fareed, is that we're in a new era of geopolitics, where big countries who have, from their perspective, long-standing challenges can act with force without any reference to international law, without any reference to imminent threat. And I think this is going to make them believe over time that they have a greater window to be able to use military force against Taiwan than they did before, and that the world will be less united and the United States will be less resolved and, frankly, less well-postured to push back against them. And I think that is a hugely dangerous lesson for the Chinese to draw, but my guess is that's what Beijing is seeing right now.
Jake Sullivan, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much. Next on GPS, Trump did a 180 yesterday on whether he wanted the Kurdish forces to join the war in Iran. Well, who are the Kurds and what is behind Trump's change of heart? We'll explain when we come back.
I'm Jake Tapper in Philadelphia, and this is CNN.
What you do today changes what you need tonight. Introducing the new Comfort Mode mattress from Sleep Number. It changes as fast as your life does, personalizing your comfort every night. Only at Sleep Number.
Hey, hon.
Sometimes you just need a moment. Self-care has never been this easy. Try Zero Sugar Gummies from Nature Made. Same benefits, zero sugar.
If you're out there and you're watching this message, we need your help and we need it now. This is a typical day at the outpatient department. Every day we see very many cases of children with severe pneumonia. All these children need to be seen and they all need to be seen today. This is baby Priscilla. She's 7 months old. When a child has pneumonia, you really need to move quick. This is like an infection in the baby's lungs. It really hurts for this child to be breathing. It feels like someone is squeezing your chest. If Priscilla doesn't get antibiotic treatment, it could lead to death.
We need your support right now to help save children's lives like Priscilla's. Please call or go online to givetosave.org and give just $10 a month, only 33 cents a day. You can help us provide life-saving medicines, food, and essentials to children in the most need.
The problem we have is we simply do not have enough medicine. It's very heartbreaking to see a child suffer like this.
Please help children like Priscilla before it's too late. All we need are 1,000 monthly donors. Please call or go online with your monthly gift of just $10, only 33 cents a day. Your donation today can help secure additional grants, which can multiply the impact of your support up to 10 times. And when you call with your credit card, we will send you this Save the Children tote bag as a thank you for your support.
With your help, we can save more lives. So please help us.
Your small monthly donation of just $10 could be the reason a child survives. Please call or go online to givetosave.org to help save lives.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn an average of over $23 an hour. Because sometimes a little extra goes a long way. At Amazon, skills training and apprenticeships can move hourly employees into higher paying roles.
It's not helpful.
Try the Allen wrench.
Kind of helpful.
Spectrum definitely had our pocketbook top of mind.
Spectrum is a great value for us.
All our total sales come from the internet, so fast, high-speed internet is crucial in this kitchen.
Spectrum's high-speed connection provides everything that we need to run this business.
Spectrum provides the entertainment, checking in guests, checking out guests, running their credit cards.
We use Spectrum for our Wi-Fi, running our POS systems.
We have phones, we have tablets that connect the kitchen to the drivers.
Having Spectrum, they prove their value all the time to us.
Part of that value is how fast the internet is, how reliable the internet is. They also provide wonderful customer service for us, which is vital for us to run our business.
Get free fiber-powered internet forever when you add 4 mobile lines. Learn more at spectrum.com/free for life.
States and Israel are now both conducting strikes against Iran.
Saudi Arabia has intercepted 2 drones.
There is the siren. We're going to head to the shelter. These are dramatic developments that are unfolding.
Many sources tell CNN that the CIA has been working to arm Iranian Kurdish militias in hopes of inciting an uprising in Iran. President Trump has been having discussions with Kurdish leaders and said on Thursday that it would be wonderful, quote unquote, if the Kurds would consider an attack in Iran. But now he seems to have changed his mind. Trump told reporters yesterday that the conflict is complicated enough without the Kurds getting involved. The Kurds, to remind you, are a mostly Muslim ethnic minority in the Middle East with significant populations in Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Syria, and Armenia. Joining me now to discuss the role of the Kurds in this conflict is former U.S. ambassador and a former informal advisor to the Kurdistan regional government in northern Iraq, Peter Galbraith. Peter, welcome. First, tell us what you can about why President Trump seems to have had a change of mind about encouraging the Kurds to join in this fight.
I think the principal reason he's had a change of mind is that the Kurds have declined to join the fight. The Iranian Kurds are based in Iraqi Kurdistan, which has been a de facto independent country since 1991. It has very good relations with the United States, but it is also right next to Iran and has had reasonable relations with Iran. So it would be at risk if an attack emanated from Iraqi Kurdistan. And the Iranian Kurds are aware, as the Iraqi Kurds, of America's history, a 51-year history of using the Kurds for military action and then betraying them. It happened in 1975, again in 1991 when Bush Sr. called for an uprising and then didn't help. But then Donald Trump has been a serial betrayer of the Kurds. 2017, he permitted an Iranian-backed Shia militia headed by a convicted terrorist to attack the Kurds in the city of Kirkuk. In 2019, he gave President Erdogan of Turkey a green light to attack the Syrian Kurds just months after they had been America's ally in defeating the Islamic State. And then earlier this year, he cooperated, or the Trump administration cooperated with the new government in Syria in military operations against the Kurds.
So their feeling is, as I think I read somewhere, America comes, America goes, but Iran stays.
That's precisely right.
And tell us a little bit more about the nature of these minorities in Iran. You hear about the fact that Iran has a bunch of minorities, Kurds, Azeris, Armenians, but they've never really, as far as I know, there are not a lot of armed ethnic insurgencies within Iran in its history.
That's right. There is, the Kurds have at times been an armed insurgency. In 1979, when the Shah's regime collapsed, the Kurds rose up and really governmental authority collapsed, and the Kurdish Peshmerga of the fighters came in. Not large numbers, but there was they were still able to take over. There's been some military resistance, armed resistance on the part of the Baluch, who also have been fighting in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Like the Kurds, they're divided among 3 countries. But yeah, there's been very limited armed opposition. The most important has been the Kurds, but there are only about 4,000 Kurdish fighters, if that many. And even if there was a collapse of authority in Iranian Kurdistan, it's very far from Tehran. It wouldn't topple the regime.
So in a way, the Iranian government might even say, look, if there is some small part of the periphery that gets taken over, we don't care. Iran is Tehran and Isfahan and those central cities.
Well, yes, I would doubt very much in this war that they would divert resources to a fight in Iranian Kurdistan. They would assume that this was a problem they could deal with later.
Peter Galbraith, thank you so much. You know so much about this and have such a long history with it. It was very valuable to get your thoughts.
Thank you.
Next on GPS, will Iran's attacks on its Gulf neighbors change the geopolitics of the region? I'll explore that next.
I used to think all money managers were the same, but Fisher Investments is different.
How different are they really?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, and they reach out proactively.
They probably invest in a bunch of mutual funds like other money managers.
No, they build a tailored portfolio based on your personal goals, needs, and more.
Well, they probably have a complex fee structure.
No, Fisher has a transparent fee that's a percentage of your portfolio.
So we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Known for pursuing your passions. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is an immunotherapy known to treat cancer. FDA approved for 18 types of cancer. One of those cancers is early-stage non-small cell lung cancer. Keytruda may be used with certain chemotherapies before surgery when you have early-stage lung cancer, which can be removed by surgery, and then continued alone after surgery to help prevent your lung cancer from coming back.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, headache, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, persistent or severe muscle pain or weakness, muscle cramps, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions, including immune or nervous system problems, such as Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, or myasthenia gravis, or Guillain-Barré syndrome, an organ, tissue, or stem cell transplant, or receive chest radiation. Keytruda can harm your unborn baby.
See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you. It's true, Keytruda.
What you do today changes what you need tonight. Introducing the new Comfort Mode mattress from Sleep Number. It changes as fast as your life does, personalizing your comfort every night. Only at Sleep Number.
Did you take your vitamin today?
That's my job.
Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
As your skin needs change, Aveeno delivers a routine that lasts. From soothing prebiotic oat wash to intensely hydrating lotion and oil to lock it all in. From AM to PM, Aveeno, your skin stronger.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms can keep coming back. Break away to what's possible with Tremfya. With rapid remission at 12 weeks and fewer bowel movements and less abdominal pain at 4 weeks. Most patients achieve remission at 1 year, and some patients saw visible healing of the intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Milk? You got a rumble in your tumble that you don't want to address.
I don't know.
You can have your milk and smile. Lactate's in the real milk aisle. Lactate.
Allergies got you trying every trick? Grab Zyrtec for total relief. It works fast and lasts a full 24 hours. What are you waiting for? Go Z's the day with Zyrtec.
Extreme weather moving into the area. Better stay inside.
Don't let what's happening outside affect how you feel inside. Pella windows are tested against extreme heat, cold, wind, and rain.
The cold truth is, you can't work from home when you're sick. You need fast relief. Alka-Seltzer Plus Day Cold and Flu Liquid Gels burst into action, relieving your cold and flu symptoms fast. Nothing works faster. Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Kara Swisher wants to live forever. Coming soon on CNN.
On Saturday, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian apologized to Gulf neighbors for his country's assault on American bases there. But today he seemed to walk back the apology as Iran continued to strike the Gulf. Earlier today, drones targeted a government building and fuel storage facilities in Kuwait. Bahrain reported attacks on a water desalination plant. A particular target has been the UAE, which until recently was an oasis of calm in a chaotic region. Joining me now from that country is Mina Al-Oraibi, editor-in-chief of The National. Mina, pleasure to have you on. What does it feel like where you are right now? Do you feel like there's still a kind of conflict raging?
You know that there is a conflict raging in large part because of the alerts we get ahead of missiles and drones being launched from Iran towards the UAE. So we get alerted. You hear the thuds of interceptions. The UAE military and armed services have been incredible in intercepting over 90% of everything that has been launched at the UAE. So you hear the thuds, which of course is disconcerting, but for many people there's also now the comfort of hearing the thud, knowing it's been intercepted. And then of course we get an alert to say the all clear is there and people get on with their everyday lives. There's a real sense of concern that what do the Iranians want to achieve? Because certainly the attacks have been on civilian targets also, from airports through to just day-to-day targets that people did not expect. But in general, people feel also protected. We had a message come out from the UAE president, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, saying not only for the Emiratis, of the people of this land, but also everybody who lives here, they are guests and a second family to the Emiratis. And so there's been a real sense of camaraderie, people coming together, but also, of course, uncertainty.
And talk about that. The UAE is full of people who come from Lebanon, who come, from the Palestinian territories, from other places. Are they, is there a great deal of concern about, the people in the region in general?
So, it's quite interesting because in the UAE, you have over 200 nationalities here, and different people are reacting to this differently from their own life experiences. But for those of us who come from other parts of the Arab world, who have lived through different experiences of war, this feels much more in control and safer, frankly. Of course, you have Lebanese, Palestinians, Iraqis, Syrians, Yemenis, where there's almost a sense of survivor's guilt, that things are so well protected here. We have all our basic and regular services running as is. And yet, of course, if you come from Lebanon or Palestine, Iraq has attacks from both sides of this conflict ongoing. You feel very privileged. And there's also been a sense of the information flow has been incredible here in the UAE, updates so people know what is happening. And yet there are many people who are concerned about families back in their home countries that don't have these privileges. So it's a mixed bag. There are people who are living here who have never gone through a sense of war or conflict. And of course, some of them are much more panicked than others. But I would say that this idea of those who come from the region feel a real sadness that there would be a targeting of the UAE. The UAE is a beacon for many people. It's a land of opportunity. People who have come here, if you even look at those who have been wounded from all different parts of the world, there's even been an Iranian that's been wounded by the Iranian strikes, Sudanese, of course Emiratis, but also of different nationalities. People who have come to the UAE to make this their home. And as I said, a land of opportunity that is being targeted despite all the efforts not to be in this war, despite all the UAE efforts and other Gulf efforts to avoid us getting to a point of this regional war that we're witnessing now.
And Mina, when you think about it in those terms, who do you think people are blaming? Iran for the attacks or the United States and Israel for beginning the war?
I'll have to tell you, on the day that the war started, it was a Saturday morning, there was a real upset by people you spoke to that Israel and the U.S. had gone for the military option, despite hopes that negotiations could get some result. But very soon afterwards, as Iran started to strike the UAE and other Gulf countries, the rage and the sense of injustice really turned to Iran, because the decision to target these countries comes at a point of almost, let me burn everything in my pathway. That's how the Iranians are appearing to be at this end, at the receiving end of these attacks. There's also a sense that the bombardment is quite random. They're trying to target whatever they can actually get to. And so there's a real sense of an attack on people's way of life and people's day-to-day life, despite the efforts of the Gulf. So I would say there's much more anger towards the Iranian government for what's done. But of course, there's a lot of concern that both Israel and the U.S. are changing what the actual aims of this war are, and they've dragged this region into this war. Of course, the U.S. geographically doesn't end up paying the price that those of the region do, but also there's a concern that Israel now, with the attacks that are ongoing in Lebanon, of course, let's not forget what continues to happen in Palestine, could be unleashed in a way that is bringing much more destruction and war across the region with open-ended aims.
I only have about 30 seconds left, but I do have to ask you, does this change, you think, is this a permanent shift in geopolitics for the region? Because the UAE and Saudi have been trying to have a rapprochement with Iran. Is that all over, you think?
It will depend on how this war ends and what sort of regime remains or emerges in Iran. But for sure, the trust deficit now is bigger than it has been for decades. So there's concern about what Iran will be like as a neighbor once this war is over. But there are so many variables depending on how this war eventually will end.
Mina, what a pleasure to talk to you. Stay safe, and thank you so much. When we come back, the U.S. produces the most advanced weapons in the world. But does America have enough of them for an extended war in the Middle East? And what about Iran's arsenal? I'll explore that next.
The Situation Room, weekday mornings at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Oh, gum problems. You need new Parodontax Gum Strengthen and Protect with hyaluronic acid. It strengthens the gum seal for long-lasting gum protection. The gum experts.
She's cleaning the shower. They're cleaning the shower. Doesn't look like it, right? Wet and Forget Shower does all the work for you. Wet and Forget is the once-a-week shower cleaner that lets you go live life. Rinsing? Forget it. Scrubbing? Forget it. There's a reason Wet and Forget Shower has over 40,000 five-star reviews. Wet and Forget Shower is a bleach-free, quick and easy once-a-week spray that goes to work on contact, giving you back what matters most, your free time. Don't forget to get yours at a retailer near you.
Best gift ever. I hope you didn't break the bank.
Your boy here's doing just fine. His Empower investment accounts are designed for the long haul. And nothing says I love you like a
Aqua Cruiser Golf Green Deluxe.
Man, I want one.
Get good at money so you can be a little bad. Empower.
One-A-Day Women's Multis are made for your overall health, with nutrients for immunity and energy. So you never miss a beat. One-A-Day, the one for you.
VisionWorks makes things simple. We organize frames by shape and price.
Oh, I love these.
And if you change your mind?
Yeah, I changed my mind.
There's our 100-day guarantee. VisionWorks. See the difference.
A dedicated mentor, an empowered parent, an effective after-school program, digital literacy tools that protect kids online. These are just some of the solutions to the Youth Mental Health Challenge. At the Coalition to Empower Our Future, we're bringing together experts in youth well-being to solve this complex challenge. Our mission? Keep kids happy and healthy. Learn more at empowerourfuturecoalition.com/solutions. Paid for by the Coalition to Empower Our Future.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
What you do today changes what you need tonight. Introducing the new Comfort Mode mattress from Sleep Number. It changes as fast as your life does, personalizing your comfort every night. Only at Sleep Number.
I thought we had a plan for Dad. He was set to go to the senior living community right by my house. Then a friend suggested I talk to a place for Mom. They really opened my eyes. My advisor listened and understood his needs and showed us options that were still nearby, but a better fit for Dad. Now he's in a warm, engaging community with a big group of friends. I know we made the better choice.
For free senior living advice, go to aplaceformom.com.
This isn't our dog.
That one?
You never got new glasses, did you?
Well, you didn't know Stanton Optical makes eye care easy.
Exactly.
2 pairs of glasses and a free eye exam for $79. Stanton Optical. Easy's our thing.
With hotter days on the horizon, Renewal by Andersen is offering 31 days of spring savings. For a limited time, when you buy 2 windows or doors, you'll get 60% off. Plus, special financing. Give us a call before your windows start letting the hot air in, driving your energy bills up. Renewal by Andersen windows are custom made, professionally installed, and engineered to stand up to intense Florida weather. So what are you waiting for? Call or visit bestwindowsflorida.com.
Getting glasses soon?
Price is rising? Tough.
You know at Stanton you can get 2 glasses and an eye exam for just $79?
Don't believe you.
Let me show you.
Okay, let's go. Got the exam, chose the frames, and glasses were ready in 30 minutes. Stanton Optical rules.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
If you or a loved one have mesothelioma, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you.
800-821-4000.
The U.S.-Israeli bombardment of Iran has been dizzying, with the Americans striking nearly 2,000 Iranian targets in the first 4 days of the war alone, according to the Pentagon. President Trump has said that the U.S. has stockpiles of weapons that will allow it to continue its war, quote-unquote, forever. But many say that key munitions, including American-made interceptors that its allies use to defend against Iranian ballistic missiles, could be running low in the coming weeks. What does all this mean for America's ability to keep fighting? Joining me now to discuss this, Shashank Joshi, defense editor at The Economist. Shashank, welcome. So is President Trump right? I mean, obviously there's a rhetorical flourish here, but does the United States have, vast stockpiles that can last it for weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe months?
Well, the United States has vast stockpiles, but it's also conducting expenditure on a vast scale. And so I think while the president is right that if you look at certain categories of weapons, particularly relatively short-ranged GPS-guided gravity bombs, yes, there is a pretty plentiful supply, and we can get onto that. But I think if you look at other categories of weapons, and here the two I would highlight are really long-range standoff munitions like the Tomahawk land attack missile and air defense interceptors, which are being consumed, or at least have been consumed in the early days of this conflict at a prodigious rate. Stockpiles are very much not unlimited. They are quite scarce, and at current rates of depletion, which admittedly may not last, may change, you would begin to see issues arising within a period of weeks rather than a period of months. My concern is not that the U.S. runs out. My concern would be much more that actually the impact on the stockpile is reducing America's capacity to fight a protracted conflict, particularly with China, in the Pacific, and that China will be aware of that and that this will have an effect on deterrence. So my concern is not an immediate crisis point in munitions availability. It is the long-run impact on the ability to stay in the fight in the Pacific.
What about these air defense interceptors, and particularly the allies, the Gulf states? Are they running out of them? And when they're damaged, my understanding is some of these things take a long time to repair. I mean, this is not an interceptor, but I read about radars in Qatar that have been damaged that could take a year and a half or two to repair by Raytheon or Northrop Grumman at billions of dollars of cost.
I think you're absolutely right. We have two issues here. One of them is these exquisite radars, which are, of course, fundamental to operating these extremely high-end air defense systems, notably the Patriot and the THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System. And we have seen evidence from satellite images that Iran has mounted some successful attacks on these early warning radars, which effectively can put the entire battery out of action in some ways. But in addition to that, even if these systems are mostly intact, and they mostly are, I don't think Iran has put most of these out of action, you are still seeing huge consumption of the interceptors that take out the ballistic missiles. We heard from President Zelensky of Ukraine, in fact, that he estimated that in a few days, the Gulf states and the United States had used up more Patriot interceptors than Ukraine had been given in the entire war to date. We know that annual production of these is very low, although the administration is trying its best to raise it aggressively. And we know that it is not easy to replenish these, but also they are in very high demand elsewhere, particularly from Ukraine. European countries have been trying to buy them for Ukraine and have been rejected, and also from U.S. forces in Asia. So again, I'm not so concerned about interceptors running completely dry. What you would begin to see is rationing.
What about Iran? Is Iran running out of drones in particular?
I don't see any sign Iran is running out of drones or missiles. It had a pretty sizable stockpile of missiles. We don't know exactly, but the officials we speak to suggest upwards of 2,000 ballistic missiles, but perhaps an order of magnitude or more drones. And of course, these are the Shahed drones, Shahed 136 being the most recognizable, big sort of crude one-way attack munition that we recognize from these Russian barrages against Ukraine. There are absolutely huge numbers of these. It is still the case, though, that these are being suppressed by American and Israeli airstrikes against launching positions, but I think, Fareed, more importantly, against stockpiles and production facilities. And so that's why, if you looked at the comments made by General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, what we saw him say is that the launch rate of Iranian drones has also fallen in recent days by more than 70%. So while the stockpiles may be sizable, I think Iran is having serious trouble actually just getting these things launched and up in the air without being detected and struck.
Shashank Joshi, pleasure to have you on.
Thanks very much, Fareed.
And thanks to all of you for being part of my program this week. I will see you next week.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
Well, look at you powering through. You're not slowing down, you're raising eyebrows. Oh, and speed limits, you're way past those. Because you're playing for keeps. In other words, you're in your prime. So keep it that way with Ensure. 30 grams of protein to support your muscles and your mindset. Ensure yourself.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms despite treatment? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently, and it's a once-daily pill.
When symptoms try to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
Rinvoq helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
Rapid symptom relief, visible repair of the intestinal lining,
and lasting steroid-free remission. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50+ with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
put UC and Crohn's in check, and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, Jess from Planetary Design will pour 60 cups of coffee for 60 adventurers.
Shoot, lost count.
Shop small business on Amazon. To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, John from Bluecorn Beeswax will light 60 candles for Marv and Ethel's 60th wedding anniversary.
Marv? Ethel?
Shop small business on Amazon.
Zepbound may help in your weight loss journey. Once weekly Zepbound helps adults with obesity lose weight and keep it off.
Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take if allergic to it or if you or someone in your family had MTC or MEN2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems.
Ask your healthcare provider about once weekly Zepbound.
Iran has hit cities across Israel with a massive attack. There are rockets and drones that are hitting our schools, our homes, our synagogues. I'm Yael Eckstein of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and we urgently need your response now to help bring emergency food, shelter, and life-saving supplies.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has emergency teams across the front lines of Israel's war for survival. Call now to give your gift of $45 and help provide food, shelter, and life-saving supplies. It's your prayers and gifts that give hope and comfort to Israel and the Jewish people.
The Fellowship is a Bible-believing ministry, and we desperately need tens of thousands of faithful believers to answer this call for help now.
Call, scan, or go online now to stand with Israel.
And the Oscars, Still Golden, Saturday at 10 on CNN or watch on the CNN app.
Escalation. Breaking overnight, Israel attacks Iran's oil sites as President Trump demands an unconditional surrender.
We want to pick a president that's not going to be leading their country into a war.
But as gas prices tick up,
it's crazy. We're going to pay for this.
And the toll mounts. What is Trump's endgame? Plus, Cuban collapse. Trump threatens action closer to home.
Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line.
Is Cuba his next target? And the mess in Texas. Democrats rejoice while Republicans scramble.
Judgment Day is coming for Ken Paxton.
John Cornyn has failed us time and time again.
Will the president blow up a key Senate race? Inside Politics, the best reporting from inside the corridors of power, starts now. Good morning. Welcome to Inside Politics Sunday. I'm Manu Raju. Now in its 9th day, President Trump's military campaign has launched a reckoning against Iran, throwing it into disarray after the killing of the supreme leader, combined with a relentless aerial bombardment all across the country. But as Iran remains defiant, there are mounting questions about Trump's main objective, as his administration struggles to convey the endgame to a world on edge, a region at war, and a very skeptical American public. New overnight, the war entering a new phase, Israel launching a fresh wave of attacks targeting Iran's oil storage sites. And stunning new video from our CNN team on the ground shows black rain falling in the city of Tehran. Meanwhile, Iran is retaliating with attacks in the Gulf region, despite its president suggesting they would end. So let's begin all this over coverage with CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh. He's live for us in Tel Aviv. So Nick, walk us through what happened overnight and what's ahead.
Look, a fast-moving morning, a pivotal moment, really, for the war here. Let me just give you a quick snapshot of this morning here in Tel Aviv. As often, sirens, but abnormally, a projectile flew overhead of where we are, elements landing in the sea behind me, but also black smoke now visible on the northern Tel Aviv skyline. Sounds of well, impacts, always hard to tell if that's munitions or debris. So a sign that Iran, despite suggestions its missile stockpiles are diminished, is still trying to hit Tel Aviv here, but a, frankly, far more apocalyptic scene in Tehran. My colleague Fred Pleitgen reporting the black oil residue coming down in rain, landing around his feet. Black smoke, that's the result of Israeli strikes, as what they call the next phase of the conflict here, going after infrastructure, oil storage facilities that they say the military in Iran have indeed been using. On top of that as well, we now have this troubling moment where it appears that desalination infrastructure in the Gulf has been targeted by Iran. That's huge because these Gulf neighbors, dragged into the war, frankly, by Iran's retaliatory strikes and what Iran says are US bases in these territories. Obviously, desalination so vital for sustaining life in those hot, arid countries. That is escalating fast, but really, what I said to you, it's a pivotal moment, is that in Iran, we are told through senior clerics speaking to state media that they have chosen a new supreme leader. That's utterly vital because President Trump has somewhat far-fetchedly said he wants to have a hand in choosing who that person is. He's ruled out the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the man who an Israeli airstrike killed over a week ago now. But some of the hints from state media suggest that indeed Mojtaba Khamenei might actually be the choice of the assembly of experts. Still hard to tell at this point, and I should point out we've had multiple days of suggesting that this pivotal choice for Iran is imminent. But indeed, if it is somebody who President Trump has ruled out, is appointed, that potentially suggests we are far from any kind of resolution here. Although, look, listening to President Trump talking on Air Force One, coming back to Washington recently, he's defining what surrender means. He's demanded surrender, and you get this sense, really, that he can declare this war over at any given point, despite the region seeing it nothing but escalate. Manu?
All right, Nick, Peyton Walsh live for us in Tel Aviv. Thank you so much. And here in the room to provide some key context on the war with Iran so far, retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton. Colonel Layton, thanks for being here. We're now in day 9 of this war, and so much has happened. It's really hard sometimes for viewers to keep track of everything that's gone on. So can you give us an overview of what we've seen so far in the attacks carried out by the United States and Israel?
Absolutely, Manu. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on here, and one of the key elements is really the fact that all of these areas here have been struck multiple times by both U.S. and Israeli aircraft, and as well Tomahawk missiles. So the concentration is basically in the western part of the country, like this area right here near the Iraq border. And then in addition to that, we also have the areas right in the south, right along this coastline, the Iranian coastline of the Persian Gulf. So what this really means is that each of these areas has become really a concentrated fire zone for both the U.S. and Israel. And note this, Tehran is a major area, and we saw that in a lot of the reporting. This is the area where there's a lot of concentration, but also the religious city of Qom, Esfahan. All of these places are major targets right now.
And what about the retaliatory strikes we have seen from Iran? What can we expect in the coming days?
So what the Iranians have been doing is basically hitting areas along the western shore of the Persian Gulf, as well as, of course, here in Israel. They've also, though, hit targets as diverse as Azerbaijan, parts of Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and even down in Oman. And they've gone after areas in Saudi Arabia, including the Prince Sultan Air Base, as well as a major oil field right here on the UAE-Saudi border.
And, you know, there's obviously so much concern here in the United States about the impact on people's pocketbooks, on gas prices in particular. The Strait of Hormuz, we hear a lot about. So walk us through about the situation there and how long that could play out.
So this is a very critical waterway. So what you've got here is about 20% of the oil traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz. And what that really means is 14 million barrels per day of unrefined products, 6 billion barrels per day of refined oil products. And what that does is it really shows us this area is the choke point right here. And what that means is that each and every ship that goes through here is potentially at risk from being cut off by the Iranians. The Iranians have basically shut this area down, and the reason they've done that is because they want to control the economies of the Gulf states, such as Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and of course Saudi Arabia as well.
All right, retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton, thank you so much for breaking down all of that and for your expertise. And last night aboard Air Force One, President Trump spoke about the war with Iran. He did not rule out sending U.S. ground troops and also contradicted multiple analyses that suggested the U.S. was likely responsible for a strike on an Iranian girls' school that killed at least 168 children and 14 teachers.
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. We don't want to come back every 5 years or every 10 years and do this, so we want to pick a president that's not going to be leading their country into a war.
What are the circumstances where you'd send in ground troops? How are you thinking about that?
I don't even want to talk about it now. I don't think it's an appropriate question. You know, I'm not going to answer it. Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason.
You're going to end up coming back to Dover for more of these such dignified transfers.
I'm sure I hate to do it, but it's a part of war.
All right, I'm joined now by a terrific group of reporters here in the room. CNN's Kristen Holmes, The Atlantic's Vivian Salama, and Leanne Caldwell from Puck News. Good morning to you all. Nice to see you. Kristen, you cover the White House. We heard what Trump is saying here. They've really been all over the map about what the objective is, what the end game is. What are you hearing about what actually constitutes victory in the mind of Donald Trump?
Well, that's actually the big question that we've been trying to get to the bottom of, and we still don't really have an answer because it has shifted so much since the weeks we were talking about potentially striking in Iran. And the messaging has been, as you noted, all over the map. This idea of President Trump at one point saying this has nothing to do with regime change, then saying he wants to be the one that picks the next leader of Iran. They have laid out objectives that they have stayed with on the messaging in terms of destroying the missile capacity and the ability to make more or any kind of nuclear ambition. Those are some of them. But when it comes to what President Trump is actually doing and what the end point is, we still have no idea.
Yeah, and like he's been talking about choosing the next leader of Iran, as Kristen noted. There's word that they have chosen another leader, and even Trump just he had said a couple of days ago something along the lines of, if it's not a democratic state, it's fine. But now he wants to choose the next supreme leader. What do you make of the way he's prosecuting the war right now?
I mean, there is a long history that shows us that forced regime change doesn't always go in the U.S.'s favor, certainly, but in any country's favor. The president has offered multiple rationales. As Kristen was saying, my colleagues actually did a great story where within the first 6 days of the war, whether or not we're calling it a war, but I'm going to just call it a war.
I think we're calling it a war.
President Trump's barely calling it a war.
He just said it was war. In fact, the last thing he said on Air Force One is war.
Which is a whole nother issue. But within the first 6 days, they offered 10 different rationales for why they were doing this, including the imminent threat and regime change and helping the Iranian people. Now the president is trying to come in there and forcibly change the leadership in very akin to what we saw in Iraq in 2003 with the toppling of Saddam Hussein, which is the exact war that this administration has repeatedly said they do not want to repeat. I covered the Iraq war very closely.
Trump has said that repeatedly. He talked about it.
He has talked about it repeatedly, and the issues then become that the U.S., especially across the region, kind of represents this imperialist power that comes in, topples regimes, puts other regimes in place, whether or not it's, the will of the people on the ground there or not, that remains to be seen. And so it's very problematic for a number of reasons, and history has proven that for us.
And now he's not suggesting sending in ground troops. I mean, obviously what happened in Iraq, U.S. had to send in ground troops to lead to the toppling of the Hussein regime. And Trump is not ruling out ground troops now. Is that something he's just keeping out there, or is this a real possibility?
I mean, there's been reporting over the weekend that it's something that the White House is actively discussing. But when talking to sources and especially people on the Hill, the concern is if regime change and putting in the leader that you want is actually the goal, that automatically, usually in most cases, means ground troops, like you pointed out. And so that means a much different war. That is
higher casualties,
huge escalation on multiple levels. There's already, the president has said that there are no concerns about munition supply. Well, that's not what the conversation has been like on Capitol Hill, not just now, but for the past few years, there's been a concern about lack of munition supply. So we'll see where it goes, but it does have the very real possibility of escalating very quickly.
There was that moment on Air Force One last night where Trump was asked about that strike on the Iranian girls' school. Really tragic, killing of at least 168 children, 14 teachers. There have been multiple analyses, CNN, other outlets, that it looked likely the U.S. was responsible. Trump comes out and says it was, quote, done by Iran. And then Pete Hegseth was right behind him, and he was asked about it. He said, we're certainly investigating, but the only side that targets civilians is Iran, not going as far as Trump.
Well, I actually want to go back to the question that was asked to Pete Hegseth, because I think that shows just how vague Hegseth was. The question was, after Trump answered, Pete Hegseth, do you agree with that it was Iran? And he said, we're still investigating, but Iran is the only one who targets civilians. I mean, that is verbal jujitsu. He knew exactly what he was doing. He did not say anything. And this is a man who almost always backs President Trump. So that gives you an idea of how he is processing all of the information that is coming in.
Yeah, we'll see what ultimately comes out of that investigation. All right, coming up next for us, why Republicans are insisting the Iran war is not actually war. Plus, as Democrats have their own internal feud brewing, some Republicans fear they are the ones who are losing the public debate.
I know the Democrats, Democrat marketing department's doing pretty good because even in the midst of the war, they're shifting back to affordability.
If anybody knows about going to great lengths to realize a dream, it's the 5 Japanese-born players in front of their nation's fans for the first time.
Homecoming, the Tokyo series, premieres March 27th on the CNN app.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
Go ahead, crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
Are you a fiduciary? Well, sure. What about you?
Yes. At Fisher Investments, we take the fiduciary duty to a whole new level, doing right by our clients in all aspects of our business.
Do you make commissions selling products?
Well, yes.
And Fisher?
We don't sell any commission-based products because as a fiduciary, we believe that's a conflict of interest.
And how do your fees work? Let me explain. And Fisher?
We have a transparent fee structured so we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back. Break away to what's possible with Tremfya, with rapid relief at 4 weeks. Many people experienced remission at 1 and even 2 years. Some saw 100% visible healing of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Tremfya now offers self-administration from the start. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
First, you get hit by psoriasis. And now, you get hit again. This time by joint pain. It's a double whammy. It could be psoriatic arthritis, a chronic inflammatory disease that attacks your joints on the inside and your skin on the outside. If you've been hit by, find out more about psoriatic arthritis at doublewhammy.com and talk to your doctor.
At Amazon, hourly employees earn an average of over $23 an hour. Because sometimes a little extra goes a long way. At Amazon, skills training and apprenticeships can move hourly employees into higher paying roles.
It's not helpful.
Try the Allen wrench.
Kind of helpful.
Where's your pain?
Right here. Both knees.
Take on the pain with CopperFit Mobilizer. Hyper-advanced compression sleeves. Powered by LumaCore. Blue infrared fibers. Woven into compression fabric. Increase circulation to reduce inflammation. For faster recovery and pain relief.
It's more than just a compression sleeve. And it's really cool that CopperFit was the one to create it.
I'm pain-free. The swelling isn't there.
It's working for me. It's going to work for you.
Get yours at mobilizer.com.
Are you comfy? I feel like I'm in an air fryer, but sure. Yeah.
The Pentagon has yet to detail the costs of the war in Iran, but at least one estimate pins it close to $1 billion per day. And one expert says a 2-month war could cost taxpayers $95 billion. That means the debate over the war and whether to fund it will land on Capitol Hill, where Democrats will have significant leverage. Now, I spoke to many Democrats and asked them how they will handle it, and there's no one clear answer. Would you support funding this war?
I mean, not a single senator who opposes this war should support an additional dollar for Iran. If they bring a request for funding before Congress, we should draw a line in the sand.
I'm not going to support funding for something that they refuse to even come before Congress and justify in open hearings.
I think the idea that we have our troops right now, overseas on battleships and planes in our bases, the idea of defunding them in the middle of that doesn't seem like the right move to me.
My panel is back with me now. So this is significant because the administration came to Capitol Hill last week and said that they were going to need additional money. We don't know how much money. This could be tens of billions of dollars, but that means Congress has to approve it, which means Democrats, particularly in the Senate, will have enough votes to block this if they want to allow this war to go forward. But the debate you're hearing there is on one side saying we can't fund this. We don't even know exactly what the objective is. On the other side, U.S. troops are in harm's way. How do we not fund this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult for Democrats. I think it's going to split along ideological lines, most likely. They're going to need 8 Democrats in the Senate probably in order to pass any sort of funding. But the question is, a lot can happen between now and when that funding request is in.
We haven't even had public hearings yet.
Right, and I was talking to Democratic senators last week about, if the administration is giving an end game, like how this is going to move forward. And they said, we are not even in that phase yet. We are still trying to even understand what is happening in the moment and what the current objectives are. And so there's a lot of time, I think, between now and when that funding request could come, even if it's only a couple weeks, because things are moving so quickly and developing in different directions so rapidly.
How much do you think this is, going to cost? Is there any way to know how much this is going to cost? And how do you see that debate playing out?
Well, obviously, it depends how long this war goes on. Excuse me. And we've heard estimates of anywhere from, a few weeks to several months. Some Pentagon estimates say they're planning for this to continue until September, which would be extraordinary on so many levels, not to mention midterm elections coming in November. But to Leanne's point, Democrats are in a real bind right now because you have troops that are literally being killed in action as we speak. And they have this dilemma right now where on the one hand, they want to assert their war powers, their ability to be able to declare war, this constitutional right for Congress. On the other hand, they do not want to be seen as holding back. Excuse me, a frog in the throat.
It's daylight savings time.
Definitely. They don't want to be seen as holding back any money that would potentially support those troops as they are on the front lines, so to speak. And so this is going to be something that is going to really continue to build over the next few days.
And the question is going to be the economic pressure on Republicans, too. How long will they stay in line behind Donald Trump as they see gas prices continue to tick up? Look at the current national average for gasoline as of this morning, $3.45. This is up about almost 50 cents from last week alone. What are you hearing from the administration about the concerns about affordability is supposed to be the issue of the election?
They're very concerned about the gas prices because, remember, the gas prices are one thing that they've been leaning very heavily on, this idea that they have seen a systematic lowering of gas prices. And you heard President Trump kind of try to touch on this when he was meeting with the German chancellor, saying, well, prices are going to go up, but only briefly, and then they'll go back down. But we know behind the scenes, there has been a massive effort between administration officials across the cabinet to try and figure out ways to lower the gas prices. I mean, one of the things we saw on Friday was this release from the Treasury Department where they were going to actually allow India to keep buying Russian oil, even though there's been a whole ban on that because they need oil coming into the market because there is not oil. And obviously now we've seen, they blew up one of the oil refineries in Iran. Like this is a huge problem for them.
Yeah, and the American public, how they will view this war too, obviously. Right now, not very popular, and we know as military campaigns drag on, it tends to get much worse right now. Independents, 58% say should not have struck Iran. We'll see how that number, if it ticks up in the weeks ahead. And we'll also see how Republicans deal with the question that I've been putting to them, other reporters have been putting to them about what is actually happening here. Is it a war or is it not a war? It's very clear what is happening. They took U.S. and Israel, they went after the supreme leader, they taken over gone after the Navy assets, the airspace. We saw everything that happened overnight. So why aren't Republicans calling this a war?
Why not authorize this war, vote to authorize, like you did with Iraq and Afghanistan?
You know, that's just a ridiculous idea that Congress has to authorize a war.
Do you think this is a war right now?
No, I do not.
It's military action. Whether somebody wants to call it a battle, a war, a combat operation, I'm not really interested in the semantics of it.
I wouldn't call this a war as much as I'd call it a conflict that should be very short and sweet, if you can put it that way.
Acknowledge that this is a war. This is war right now.
I think it's an operation.
An operation.
Yeah. Speaker Mike Johnson, very good with words always. But the reason they're not calling it a war is because, first of all, there's a war authorization that Republicans just rejected last week. If it is an official war, then that could trigger some more additional congressional authority or the pressure to at least put forward some congressional authority. So there's a legal reason for that. Also, optics. They want to downplay this as much as possible for the American people, for the public, especially in a midterm election year. They do not want this to go on and on. They want it to be an operation.
Yeah.
They want it to be a short and sweet situation. We'll see.
But this is going to get increasingly more complicated as we have U.S. troops dying in battle, and especially if ground troops enter the picture, then they are going to have a really difficult time trying to justify to the American people that this is not a war.
Yeah, and how do you continue this dragging out without a vote in Congress? That's obviously an issue that's going to continue to dominate, especially if ground troops have to be sent in. And what the public hearings, too. That's another thing. We have not heard from administration officials testifying in a public setting about their objective, what's next. Will that happen? We shall see. All right, coming up, Republicans are nervous. Weekend is a threat from Trump looms over a key race in Texas. Plus, why are more and more lawmakers running for the exits? Our latest reporting next.
This is something no one would have expected even a few months ago.
There's new drama here on Capitol Hill tonight.
You know, I think a lot of women right now ask that question.
Life, diabetes. There's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
Zepbound for adults with obesity.
My feet go boom, 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 boom. High speed goes zoom, 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 zoom. I said, you can't stop me. I can't wait out, but nobody. Boom, boom, boom.
Don't take if allergic to Zepbound, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. When grit alone isn't enough, ask your doctor about Zepbound, the #1 most prescribed weight loss medicine.
Memories. It's like a movie. We can revisit all those times we did have. Mine is not a family designed to withstand tragedy.
The worry is what you do next. You will have as much life as you allow yourself.
Living with chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine, and treatment is 4 times a year. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they'd started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible, you may pay $0.
When you're connected with Spectrum, you get 5G and fiber-powered internet combined for the fastest wireless speeds. So you can sweat for the right reasons. It's only the seamless connection you love at home, everywhere you go. It's only everything.
TV advertising is evolving. Now more than ever, it gives brands more effective and affordable ways to reach consumers with data-driven targeting to deliver your message to just the right audience. Consumers today spend more time with TV content than with any other type of media. And with multi-screen advertising, you can create memorable campaigns that reach your audiences across screens, anywhere, and know that it worked. TV viewers take action, and those actions build brands. Get your brand on TV today.
Off the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
It has been 4 days since President Trump said he would finally get off the sidelines and endorse in the country's most expensive fight for the GOP Senate nomination in Texas. Republican leaders had thought he was finally poised to back the longtime incumbent Senator John Cornyn. But MAGA world has been up in arms, pressing Trump to throw his weight behind the hard-right State Attorney General Ken Paxton. Yet if he backs Paxton, GOP leaders warn it could cost the party several $100 million to salvage his campaign in a general election. And if Trump continues to waffle, the Paxton-Cornyn feud would burn up piles of cash destined to be spent in other battlegrounds. My panel is back. So what's up with Trump right now? Because he's talking about he wants to get the Save America Act passed. That's the bill that has no chance of passing the United States Senate because Democrats are opposed. They don't have the votes in the Senate. This would require proof of citizenship to vote and require voter ID. Democrats are furiously opposed. He told Dana Bash when he was asked about this on Friday, he said, I want that passed, the Save America Act. It's the most important thing ever. He was asked about the Texas race, and he said that. And just now he posted on Truth Social, no, he's not going to sign other bills until the Save America Act is passed. Okay, that aside, is Trump having second thoughts on getting involved?
Yes.
Okay.
So essentially, everything that was reported at the time is true, that he put on social media. He has had a lot of people in his ear, a lot of advisors that he's close to, a lot of leadership that he respects, telling him, you need to back Senator Cornyn. It's the only way. Like, there's a chance we could lose in Texas with Paxton. In addition to that, we're going to spend so much money on this runoff in a state that is generally red that we could win easily. Like, let's get this done. So when he posted that, there was a general belief that he was going to endorse Cornyn. However, a lot of Cornyn's advisors got out there, as well as leadership advisors, started telling media outlets he's going to endorse Cornyn, which, one, enraged the president. He was incredibly angry that there was this idea that people were saying this, which of course is also why you saw Cornyn be like, I have no idea. I'm learning about this for the first time. He handled it, but the people in that sphere were telling reporters that. And then you had this insane MAGA backlash of people calling President Trump directly, being like, you cannot do this. Your base will be so angry. And you saw them getting through to President Trump. So now the question is, what does he do? He's sitting there and he's looking at this, and he does understand the money aspect of this. He does understand the risk of endorsing Paxton, for example, but he's also said he's going to endorse somebody.
Yeah.
So that's where we are in this moment.
It's amazing because the money game, just to give a sense of what Kristen is talking about here, $69 million was spent in the Texas Republican primary, just for pro-Cornyn forces alone. That's in the primary through March 2nd, and about $95 million was spent total. That's the most expensive primary in the history of the country of any Senate race. And now we're in a 2-month runoff between Paxton and Cornyn, where they could spend roughly $200 million more. And I asked Cornyn about this when I was down in Texas recently, and about the case that he's making to Donald Trump.
So I think we've made the business case to him. It's not based on emotion. It's not about me. But I think Republicans and the president and his agenda will be much better off if I'm the nominee.
I mean, there was a point where you had criticized Trump, whether it was after January 6th or questioned his viability in 2024. Do you regret any of those comments?
Well, I think President Trump has proved a lot of us wrong. I've worked closely with the president and will continue to do so. 99.3% of the time, it's not bad.
I mean, that kind of speaks to it, right? Because there were some times that Cornyn has deviated. He did cut a deal on a big bipartisan gun law that he's had to defend on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's made the business case, but Trump is not sold on the business case yet. At least it doesn't seem so.
No, Cornyn allies say that it was a huge coup in the primary before the runoff that Trump did not endorse in that. Of course, Cornyn wanted the endorsement, but keeping Trump out was a big deal. But another thing that I'm pretty confident that Trump is being told is that Paxton's strategy and his campaign team also really messed up. He did not campaign until the last couple weeks. He hardly spent any money. He was so confident that he was going to not stave off a runoff, but at least beat Cornyn in the primary.
He came in second in the
He came in second behind Cornyn, which was Cornyn's entire strategy to get at least close to Paxton to show Trump that he could do well. So there has been a lot of mishandling on the Paxton side as well. But what it also comes down to for Trump, as you said, is, you know, his base. He really cares what his base thinks, and his base does not love John Cornyn.
You know, one of the things that we saw on Tuesday was just the surge in turnout on the Democratic side. I mean, just look at the numbers here. $2.3 million Texas primary election turnout, 2.16 for Republicans. I mean, that's a significant amount. And we've seen this also in these majority Latino counties in Texas as well, higher turnout as well. I mean, Texas is a state that is always, Democrats think that they can win Texas, and they don't win Texas. It's been decades since a Democrat can win statewide in Texas. Can this year be different?
Well, they are definitely hoping that this year is different, and especially after the 2024 elections, where President Trump actually got a bump from a lot of Latino and Black voters, and they were very proud of that. They really put him over the top. And so they're hoping to kind of maintain those voters, both in the midterms and then kind of moving forward. But that has been something that they're struggling with, and they know that going into this midterm election year.
We've seen enthusiasm on the Democratic side. Can the Republicans match it? One thing as we go to break, there was some news over the weekend of Darrell Issa, the longtime Republican from California, announcing he was retiring, not going to run for re-election in his gerrymandered district in California. Now we have 35 Republicans who are leaving the House at the end of the term compared to 21 Democrats. That gives Democrats some more hope of taking back the House. And that's the most amount of, it ties the most amount of Republicans leaving since it ties two records, 2018 and 1930. And we'll see if any other Republicans decide to retire and break that record. All right, coming up, is yet another military campaign on the table? This one closer to home? Well, Trump seemed to suggest so.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
When I made my Botox cosmetic appointment,
I was nervous that I might look overdone. I wanted results that looked like me.
what was important to me was that I'd still look like me, just with fewer lines.
I'm happy with my results. So happy that my results are natural looking. Booking a consultation, it's a way to take time for you.
Botox cosmetic effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms.
Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow, eyelid drooping, or swelling. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
I'm the one and only Delphina.
I'm the one and only Olivia. And I'm the one and only Claire. And I got treated with the one and only Botox Cosmetic.
Find a licensed Botox Cosmetic specialist at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms despite treatment? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently, and it's a once-daily pill.
When symptoms try to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
Rinvoq helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
Rapid symptom relief, visible repair of the intestinal lining,
and lasting steroid-free remission. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50+ with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
put UC and Crohn's in check, and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
Moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep you out of the picture. Now, there's Skyrizi.
I've got places to go and I'm feeling free. Control of my symptoms means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Get back in the picture. Skyrizi is proven to help deliver relief, repair, and remission. Feel significant symptom relief as early as 4 weeks. Skyrizi is proven to help visibly repair damage of the intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year, and help people achieve lasting remission.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or UC.
Ready to get back in the picture with Skyrizi?
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and UC combined.
Paul? Hey, Carfox, are you hiding from used car shopping? Yes. It doesn't have to be scary. Show me, Carfox. Knowing how a car's accident history impacts price means you don't have to overpay. No fear, just Fox. Say show me at Carfax.com.
Introducing X-Back from Copperfit, America's #1 back support brand. Our groundbreaking technology designed for compression support of your lower back and core like you've never experienced before. The X-Back evenly distributes the support across a broader surface area of your back for relief of lower back aches and pains. An orthopedic design alloy support panel and 4 built-in flexible stabilizers to help improve alignment and promote better posture. Available at getxback.com. Copperfit, feel the difference.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Emmy winner for Outstanding Recorded News Program. Tonight, Sarah Seidner delves into the decision to strike Iran, the fallout, and what happens next. The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, tonight at 10 on CNN, and next day on the CNN app.
Even as there is no end in sight to the U.S. campaign against Iran, President Trump already has his sights set on a new target.
As we achieve a historic transformation in Venezuela, we're also looking forward to the great change that will soon be coming to Cuba. Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money, they have no oil.
And this came as President Trump told our colleague Dana Bash on Friday. He said this unsolicited, unprovoked in their phone conversation. Cuba is going to fall pretty soon, he says. Now, good thing we have Vivian Salama here at the table because she's written repeatedly about the Cuba operation as it's unfolding. You wrote this for The Atlantic saying, Venezuela and Cuba fit into the administration's oft-articulated objective of solidifying dominance in the Western Hemisphere, a goal that since Trump's re-election has included threats to annex Greenland, take over the Panama Canal, and make Canada the 51st state.
Yeah. So
is it real?
It's real. So when he first removed Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela, I started calling around to advisors and said, you know, is this part of your plan to go after Cuba? And they laughed at me. Literally, they were like still sweating from the Venezuela operation and said, you know, come on, we got to focus on one thing at a time. That was 2 months ago, guys. Now we have since threatened to annex Greenland. We have started military operations, massive military operations in Iran. And even as the bombs were just starting to fly over Iran, I started calling around advisors again saying Cuba, and they said the president's feeling good now and thinks now is the time.
Does that mean military action?
That means some sort of military action, at least to potentially remove the post-Castro regime. They don't know to what extent they want to do it, but they do feel that the administration there, the regime there, is significantly weakened, partially because of the Venezuela operations, largely, I should say, because of that they believe now is the time. And the president is feeling very good, and he feels that that would sort of cement his foreign policy legacy, where he'd be among like Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan in terms of his foreign policy. Of course, all this comes with the backdrop that the U.S. economy is in a dire place.
And then what? I mean, if he does go into Cuba.
Well, I will say this. I think one thing that we have to look back on is the fact that this has always been an endgame for Secretary of State Marco Rubio. This is something he has talked about for a decade. I mean, he has talked about specifically overthrowing Venezuela in order to overthrow Cuba. The fact that Venezuela, Cubans were giving Venezuelans money, that the security forces are propping up Cuba. So this has been part of what he has put out there as an endgame thing, something that America should be involved in. And obviously Rubio is Cuban American.
Very personal for him.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
It's also been it's been an issue for 7 decades of American presidents of both parties, Cuba particularly.
Yeah, no question. And it's, you know, whatever happened to Trump when he ran on the campaign trail, said that, you know, the whole MAGA thing, remember that? Yeah. Make America Great Again? It wasn't really supposed to be going after country after country after country. I don't recall hearing that much on the campaign trail, but just look at the number of targets, military actions in Trump's second term. There was, of course, Venezuela, Nigeria, Somalia. I mean, the list goes on. And now Cuba.
Yeah, he ran as an isolationist. He is the opposite of that. And that's actually why I think he's getting a lot of support from Republicans on the Hill, because this is this traditional neocon conservative belief of American interventionism, and he's doing exactly that.
And going past, beyond just your
more
typical
than that.
neocon.
Yeah,
that's no question about it. I think a lot of people will be surprised a year ago thinking to see what's happening right now. All right, coming up next. Timing is everything. My new reporting on how a Senate Republican timed his retirement so no other candidate could get in the race, and how President Trump knew all about that switcheroo. At least one candidate calls it all sleazy.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
You're looking at Carvana's newest and proudest customer. So proud that we're teaming up to create Shackvana. Shackvana will be 100% online so customers can shop from anywhere.
That's so Shackvana.
Visit Shackvana or Carvana and buy your car today.
So how are you feeling about your current money manager?
Well, I feel like we've outgrown them.
Well, she's right. Our lives have changed, and we need more than just mutual funds to help us in retirement.
I understand. At Fisher Investments, we get to know you, your goals, lifestyle, and needs, and then tailor a portfolio just for you.
That's good to hear. Can you help with estate planning?
Yes, and we can also help you with Social Security, investment income, tax-efficient strategies, and more.
Wow.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Join the millions who are feeling the power of Osteo Biflex, the #1 pharmacist-recommended joint care supplement. At your local retailer and club.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
With less pain and swelling from active psoriatic arthritis. Imagine being a million miles away. With Tremfya, less joint pain, stiffness, and swelling is possible. Some patients even felt less fatigued. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Go ahead. Crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
Every small business owner has a monster to-do list. And as your business grows, it grows.
That's fair.
Progressive makes it easy to get a quick commercial auto quote online so you can get back to all your other to-dos. See if you can save money at progressivecommercial.com.
The place where we gather, unwind, celebrate. The place where life happens. It's called the living room for a reason. During Bear's 4-day sale, enjoy 50% off all living room furnishings. Leather and upholstered seating, sofas, sectionals, accent chairs, and more. Save on rugs and pieces that complete your living room. Hurry, sale ends on Sunday. Bear's, quality furnishings and interior design.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance to Abacus was right for them and their estate plan.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspays.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
On Amazon. To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, John from Blue Corn Beeswax will light 60 candles for Marv and Ethel's 60th wedding anniversary.
Marv? Ethel?
Shop small business on Amazon.
What could you do with your day if you could treat at home? Ask your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled for self-injection.
Forget the warm-up. DirecTV got hot. They're on fire with more MLB games than anyone. Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
How old are you?
11.
Lily doesn't play like she's 62. She plays like you owe her something. And with Ensure Max Protein, she always collects.
Told you she still plays?
You're in your prime, so keep it that way. Insure yourself.
You installed this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmers, you can get quality and savings.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
For adults with type 2 diabetes, do you know about Mounjaro? With Mounjaro, 3 out of 4 people reached an A1C of less than 7%. Plus, people lost up to 25 pounds. Don't take Mounjaro if you're allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or vision changes. Serious side effects may include inflamed pancreas and gallbladder problems. Taking Mounjaro with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Tell your doctor if you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. And before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and may cause kidney problems. Get to know Mounjaro at Mounjaro.com. Ask your doctor about once weekly Mounjaro.
Hey, John Hamm, you still coming to my dog's birthday party?
I have to sell my car.
Well, just sell it to Carvana.
Carvana?
Isn't that your car?
Okay, fine, I sold it to Carvana. Thank you.
So you'll come?
What, are we gonna walk? Sell your car to Carvana today.
First, you get hit by psoriasis. And now, you get hit again. This time by joint pain. It's a double whammy. It could be psoriatic arthritis, a chronic inflammatory disease that attacks your joints on the inside and your skin on the outside. If you've been hit by, find out more about psoriatic arthritis at doublewhammy.com and talk to your doctor.
The storm came through with 120-mile-an-hour winds through our neighborhood. My daughter had to evacuate to our house while we were out of town. Sure enough, power goes out. When the generator kicked back on, it, of course, powered the Spectrum modem. She didn't lose service, and we didn't lose connectivity with her through the entire storm. We both breathed a sigh of relief. To have her feel safe and us feel reassured that she was okay was priceless.
Real customers, real reliability. To get the most reliable internet, visit spectrum.com/stay connected.
Welcome to a place where discovery means more, where connection begins in the grandeur around you and grows into something deeper within you, where spaces shaped with intention turn curiosity into inspiration, where moments crafted just for you become memories that linger long after you leave. Welcome to Biltmore, where every experience is built for more.